Hello, chat. Welcome in, gamers. Show of hands who just woke up, Fizzy Dizzy. That would be me. I'm gonna sound so groggy, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize daylight savings was happening, and I literally leave for a trip tomorrow where I'm gonna also change time zones. So, like, time isn't even real anymore to me. Like, my god. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Today we're gonna finally talk about Persona Project Year 7, and it's gonna be quite a doozy, because it was a long year and a lot of stuff happened. So we got a lot to talk about. We got members only chat today to keep things nice and calm for myself, because I will be talking about some things that are gonna make me a little upset, so I'd prefer to kind of do that instead of having to manage a bajillion peoples. But I hope that if you can't chat, you're still enjoying the ride here. But welcome. Happy Sunday. It's been a weird month for me. With, like, everything, dude. Like, I, can barely live stream. It's just, like, I've been so sick this month. Chronic illness, like, kicking my butt, dude. So we're gonna try and persevere. We're gonna keep it positive. We're gonna hope that this next month is a little bit easier, a little bit better, considering this will be one of the last months that we work on Wild Child's era. This will be it. It's starting like the second week of April, but it should be the end of Wild Child's era, and we'll be moving forward. So, oh, I can't believe that's already happening. Oh my god, my little baby. She's grown up, man. Oh, so crazy. But yeah, guys, so today, obviously, Year 7 is on the brain. But before we get into that, let me go over my streamer stuff, my YouTuber stuff, that I don't like to do, but I need to do. So yeah, if you want to submit fan art, there's a link in the description, and it'll pop up on the next stream that I do. And we have a lot of really cool fan art today. I saw a lot of cool Parker fan art, which makes me so happy. Like, oh my god, I have such a soft spot for Parker, so that's really fun. And, like, that one in the background is literally me having Wild Child on a freaking leash. Like, that's so funny. Like, one of those child leashes. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, so there's great fan art today, and I appreciate that so much, you guys. So it brightens my day so much. It's literally the background of my computer. It's just a rotating fan art folder. It's beautiful. If you want to help support the channel, you can make a donation through Super Chat, or there's a link in the description to do it directly. Your message will be read out by a really grody little voice, little text-to-speech voice that we love to make fun of. And that's kind of a little thing we do here. Otherwise, enjoy the ride. It's gonna be a fun one. Haha. Oh, here we go, right off the bat.
Cameraman supports you unconditionally. Unfortunately, the 2 weeks community service does not support me unconditionally. I remain watching.
What? Cameraman? 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 Community server? Well, I mean, supporting me is community service, right? The PetPyves community service. Hey. No, I'm kidding. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so talk about Year 7. I do want to put a little disclaimer here. There are some episodes I'm just gonna skip entirely because I don't want to talk about them at all. And I don't have to, and that's that. That's really just it. There's some things that I feel I have said and they are done, and I don't need to speak upon them anymore. And you will understand that if you've seen the episodes, you know which ones I'm probably going to be skipping. So just so you know. Oh, banana! Let's go. Oh, the banana did not make it into Peeves' bowl. He's gonna starve. Oh well. Starve, look at him. He's like a fat cat. He really is. Also, for the record today, we are listening to My Sims music. Just like a nice little blend of My Sims tunes, because It's on the brain, man. It's on the brain. All of year 8 is literally my Sims soundtracks, so that's all I can think about. So that's all we're gonna listen to. Welcome, Sparky, oh my gosh! Welcome to the stream. So yeah, starting off with episode 76, which I can't even believe that I need to talk, like, we're all the way behind on talking about these episodes, all the way to 76, when I just finished animating 108, so yeah, we got a lot to talk about. This episode is about finding a four-leaf clover, which I think is, like, a really universal childhood experience for most people, try to find a four-leaf clover. And, like, I did eventually find one with my brother in the backyard, and I remember picking it, and I thought that this was going to be, like, the luck that we needed, because to me, things seem to be going downhill in my own little child perspective. Oh my gosh, all the bananas. Thanks, guys. Look at this. There's like 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Nana. 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 Heck yeah. Peeps got 2 out of 3. Let's go. Oh my god, there's so many. This is so crazy. Thanks, guys. I know, there's some really cute fan art today, y'all. I'm so excited. Yes, Sparky, I did see that My Sims is coming to Steam. I'm already getting it for my Switch. Like, I already have it. Like, I have it on the Wii. Like, I still have it, so. Oh, here we go, Tyler.
Hello everyone. This is your daily dose of prize money.
This is your daily dose of prize money. Thanks, Tyler. I actually did get some cool french fries this week. I got some smiley fries. You know the smiley fries you used to get at school? I found them and I got some smiley fries. So I have some really special french fries for this week. Because yes, it was my birthday this week. This past week was my birthday. I was the 4th. So that was something I ended up celebrating and crying a lot over. But yeah, trauma is a lot, man. Trauma is a lot. But I did get some special french fries to celebrate, so there's that. But yes, I really, as a child, kind of understood. I love this frame of me, by the way. But I really understood that, like, things were not going well. And that we needed a little bit of luck. And I let this four-leaf clover die. And this is kind of like I feel like this is just a superstition of my own. I've never heard of anybody else believing in such a superstition, but I think it's just because of, like, something, like, really traumatic happened around this event that had nothing to do with the event, but now I associate the event with it, and that is what complex post-traumatic stress disorder is all about. It's really about seeing things that don't mean anything to mostly everyone else, but that one thing reminds you of something, like, really, really, really traumatic. So, for me, it's four-leaf clovers, or clovers in general, shriveling up and dying. That is, like, a really bad sign to me, and it really makes me feel like the world is going to end. So that is something that, I found. And then I immediately broke a mirror. This is not a joke. I immediately broke a mirror, like, that night that I found the clover, and I thought to myself, looking at the clover shriveled up, like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have picked it. I never thought about not picking the clover. Oh no, what if it dies? Like, uh-oh, and that's when everything kind of went south. And so I really like this little shot of me looking in the broken mirror and looking at the clover and then being like, uh-oh. A little bit of a sad story. There's this musical snow globe. Like, one of my biggest triggers are music boxes. I covered that in an episode. But there's this musical snow globe I would crank and listen to drown out my parents arguing, because they get divorced later on. And it was like this really, like, God, like, morbidly sad, like morbidly sad thing of, there was, like, 3 bears inside. There was a mom and a dad and a baby bear, and they were all sitting on a rocking chair reading a book. And, like, I would always picture that was, like, my family, up until, like, of course my brother was born, but, like, I can't do anything about the snow globe, not including another baby bear. Rip Rocky. But, basically, like, it was, like, I would sit there and listen to that and just focus on that, and I feel like this is one of the first forms of dissociation I ever learned and taught myself, was to literally drown out reality and focus on, like, tunnel vision on the family I wanted or the family I believed I had. Like the picture perfect bears in a chair. And so, like, you'll see the snow globe come up a lot because I feel it's very symbolic to me as a person. And it just really, really shows all of my mental illness, like, like, literally, like, from a very young age. And that's why the ending of this one switches from the snow globe of the perfect family to the reality of what my family actually was, which was me raising my little brother while my parents were absent and fighting. And I kind of grew up believing that this was a curse. I mean, first episode of Persona Project, I brought up curses. Like, everything feels like a cosmic horror, like a curse that I cannot control, like something out of my control that just takes over. And that's kind of like another dissociative tactic, I feel. It's a very, like, desensitized to reality kind of tactic to cope and say, all these bad things are happening to me for a reason, because having a reason at least gives me a reason, other than it's just senseless suffering. So I know I'm not the only, like, survivor, victim of these bad circumstances who understands this. Like, people understand, like, if you've been through bad things, you will understand that that's just kind of what you hope for, that there is a reason, that, like, sometimes you internalize it, sometimes it becomes like oh, I deserve this because I'm a bad person, you develop low self-worth, or sometimes you say, no, there's a greater power in charge and it's punishing me, or there's some kind of outside influence mindset that you develop because it is so tremendous that you can't, like, literally cope or comprehend. So that is literally the baseline of this year, and that is where we start. So, like I said, if you can't handle this stream, you don't want me to talk about these things more in depth like I'm going to, feel free to skip it. You are okay to do that. This is just for me to get things off my chest and to explain more in depth for those who want to know maybe some of the side stories or background details and information of the things that I stash into Persona Project. Because everyone's safety is way more important to me. Obviously, I put a lot of warnings on my stuff. Please heed those warnings. I'm going to tell you before I go into any of these what warnings are going to be involved. So just be warned. This is probably one of the bigger years where I was like, wow, that was actually a lot more rough than I remembered until I started animating it. Ugh, gotta make sure I'm hydrating. Okay. So, that was the first one. That was Cursed Clover. And the next one is kind of like, we kind of go with like a back and forthness. Or at least that's what I try to do when I have big clumps of bad news. I might turn off the text. I forgot to do that in the last one. But this episode is a little bit about parentification. If you've never heard that term, it's basically where as a child, you are kind of bred and groomed to become a parent, like a little tiny parent, a little helper, instead of just being a kid. So this whole episode is about me being able to be a kid only at my grandparents' house. And it's about Wild Child having like a very strong bond with Nanny and Papa, my grandparents, and how they raised me way better than anyone else, which granted, I have already shared some pretty crazy stories about my grandparents. To say they did the best job should really be telling. But some fun details I had to include. We have our famous Not Tendo 46. The Not Tendo 46, you know, that thing we all played in the 90s? Yeah, my Not Tendo 46. And then of course, I drew the little Mario starting screen from the Super Mario 64 where you get to, like, stretch his nose and his mustache and, like, I don't know why they included, like... You know, actually, why did they do that? Why were they like, you know what'd be a fun loading screen? Tearing Mario apart, dude. Taking Mario and just, like, stretching him like an elastic band. That sounds like so much fun. And they were kind of right, but, like, thinking about it more deeply now, I'm like, what? Like, what? But yeah. I couldn't discredit that. I had to include my Mario reference here. And of course, Capri Sun's apple slices. That was like the epitome of being at my nanny's house. My real reality of being at home was being in a really not good situation. Where I was raising a child and, honestly, things were a wreck. This is kind of a foreshadowing. Little bit of a spoiler to my life, which I still think is always so funny to say. Spoiler to my life. I do end up in a hoarding situation. Like, full-blown hoarding situation later on. And the hoarding little tendencies can be seen in some backgrounds already. Because it's like a... I don't want to go too much into, like, the hoarding mindset and the mental illness behind it. It's just not a fun topic for me to talk about because I've lived with people who are like that, and let me just say right off the bat, it's not just my parents were lazy. Yes, my mom was lazy, but, like, my dad wasn't. It's just a huge... Oh, God.
I remember the Nintendo 46. They had the best games, like Mega Maria 46, Galaxy Wolf 46, Smith won the Flute of Seasons, Silver Nose 46. Jeez, what's with the number 46?
Oh my god, Galaxy Wolf 46 is so good. Mega Mario, or Mega Maria, sorry, 46, that's funny, dude. Myth of Wanda Flute of Seasons. That is so good. We need to keep this gimmick going. I love this little bit on my channel where we make off-brand things. It's so good. It's like all Brightside is. It makes me so happy. Holy cow. Thank you, Tyler. Oh, my cheeks hurt from smiling. Ugh. Oh, goodness. But yes, about the hoarding situation. It is less about a laziness mindset, it's more about a mental illness mindset. And people who need help. People who need help. It is not, like, something that is to be shamed. It is not something to be...
6, you say? 6, 7.
Hooligan, I'm gonna assume that's, like, a reference to something I don't know. But thank you for the donation. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's like I don't want anybody to walk away from hearing that I've been in a hoarding situation and totally be all up in arms about things that they don't truly understand. And I don't want anybody to get, like, basically attacked over something that they obviously need help with. People who live in these situations just need help. They don't need more guilt and shame. The whole reason why they are in that situation is probably because of a perpetuated cycle of guilt and shame, and living in the chaos and discomfort is normal to them, so they cultivate it. It's not like they don't want... I promise you they don't want to live like that, okay? Like, it is very much something that is going to come up later, and I just want to forewarn you that it is beginning now. And in Blackbird's era, it'll reach its peak. So, just as a fair warning, this is the beginning. And growing up in this is stressful. It is chaotic. It is just disgusting. And as a wild child, I could see it, but I didn't know how to fix it yet. I didn't have the tools or capabilities to know how to do much, except I learned how to start cleaning and cooking myself and trying to make my own situation better and right. So that was one huge responsibility I had as a child, aside from taking care of another child, taking care of the house. But at my grandma's house, I got to play in the bubble baths and like till my fingers turned to raisins, and then she'd like pat me with baby powder, like, you know, all the old white grannies do, and it was just a good time. Oh yeah, and here's another off-brand reference. We have Moo Bell ice cream. Gotta get you some Moo Bell ice cream. But we'd have, me and my papa would have ice cream with our little chocolate syrup mixed all the way in, because I swear to God, the autism comes from him. We are the same person, and I'm autistic, but somehow he isn't, and I'm just saying he was never diagnosed. The autism runs deep in this family, I swear. But also, I just want to appreciate my little chocolate animation. It was so cute, dude. Look at it. Appreciate that.
If a Nintendo 46 exists, does that mean there's an SCN or an SSEN? Or better yet, a girl game?
A girl game! Oh my god! I love playing on my girl game. My girl game. Yes, Pokemon Sapphire on my girl game. SEN. Yes. It's just the NES. That's awesome. I love this. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thank you, Maddie. That's so sweet. Thanks for the dono. But yeah, here's a fun little frame that I'd like to explain more. This is Wild Child on the floor of my nanny's office, and this is where I actually learned to draw. Like, this is a pretty important, like, piece of information to understand, that if I flip this upside down and you read the little book, it is a how to draw cartoons book, and the very first thing I learned to draw was a cat. This is, like, mind-boggling, because this is just, like, where everything in my whole entire channel and life began, really, actually.
Shout out to mixing vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup. I did that. 2, 3.
Heck yeah, Tyler! Heck yeah! Dude, I don't trust people who just, like, don't mix their ice cream. I'm sorry. Like, if you, like, pour a syrup in there or sprinkles and you don't mix it up, I have, like, a -1 trust with you.
Man, I love you playing Charlie Circus on my Sen.
Charlie Circus on my Sen. On my SEN. Dude, the off-brand names are so good. You guys are so creative. Thank you. Thank you for adding a bit of humor and brightness to a rather dour topic I must discuss. It definitely helps a lot with the coping. I appreciate it, really. Thank you, Em. But yeah, this is where I learned to draw. I put a couple of the erasers from a previous episode. If you remember, back in the school olden days, Wild Child would, not school olden days, which Lucky Lions. One of those, it was in the same area, so I always remember, like, episodes in batches, because I do, like, a couple episodes a week. But yeah, in the little, like, Lucky Lions episode, Wild Child gets these little erasers that she gnaws on, at the end, and I've included them again. I like doing little details where I call episodes back into the present, or reference things that are gonna come in the future. Like, it's always so much fun, because I have all this, like, leeway when it comes to not fully animating this, so I can put more details, and I like that. But this was, like, a really cool thing of, like, I would try to clean at my nanny's house, and she would always stop me and just let me go be a kid. And, this is a very hilarious, from my memory drawing of Lucario in The Mystery of Mew, the Pokemon movie. Lucario don't look like that. I don't know who that is. It's a very much an off-brand Lucario. So, yeah, but Mew is spot on. I mean, I can't really mess up Mew, like, but I don't know what happened to him. He's so much more anime. Dude, I don't know how he got more anime, but he did. because I try to draw everything from Persona Project from memory. I don't try to look up references to anything, because I try to just pull raw from my brain. But here's Wild Child with her favorite stuffed animals.
When I would go to White Spot as a kid, I would take the chocolate coin and mix it with my ice cream. I've had waiters get jealous cause they wanted to try it too. Anyway, happy belated birthday, King.
Oh, thank you, Fizzy! Oh my god, that's so sweet! Ah.
Can't wait for the Blackbird era.
Oh, AJ the Dragon! Let's go, dude! Thanks for the dono! I also can't wait for Blackbird's era. She's something else. She's right off the bat, like, y'all are gonna be in for a treat. She is spicy, dude. She's crazy. She's a spitfire. Oh, but Fizzy, that sounds like so much fun. Chocolate coins. Oh, I love chocolate coins. That's so fun. Oh, that had to be so good. And like when chocolate gets really, really cold, it gets like really crunchy. Ooh, that was probably so good. That's peak. Dude, that's so wonderful. But yeah, Blackbird's era is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be probably one of the worst times of my entire life, so it's gonna be a emotional roller coaster because it's got some of the like really, really high points and really, really low points, and they drop and raise like on and off, fluctuating. It gets really crazy. But yeah, just to introduce you to my stuffed animals, we have Elmo, of course. We have Spot from a previous episode. And then Sprinkles, my first Webkins, which is one of the Valentine's Day frogs. So those are my 3 stuffed animals. And I'm about to actually get them back. I'm going to Florida tomorrow, actually. Going to Florida, and I'm gonna go and revisit a lot of my childhood stuff for my birthday. It's a little bit of a wild child focused trip, where I'm going to be spending some time with my brother and revisiting some of the areas I need to. I'm gonna visit some people's graves who I need to visit. I'm going to basically go to the pond that I was raised at. I'm gonna go to a lot of places, and also my brother's been holding on to my childhood stuffed animals for me, and now I'm gonna bring them home at last. So I will be posting updates about that in my Discord, which is a member benefit for the $10 and up. But I will share that on another live stream in the far future when I do come back. It'll be like a couple weeks, essentially. That I'm gonna be doing this kind of soul healing journey in real life, so that's gonna be interesting. So I'm very excited to get my stuffed animals back very soon. I miss them a lot. But here's the contrast between the 2 houses. You have Nanny and Papa's house, where I could watch Pokemon and make a little fort with my stuffed animals, and then there's my parents' house, where they would watch sports, and I'd have to watch my brother, not the TV. So that's kind of the reality of being parentified, and then here's just a lovely shot of feeling free. And this tree is really, really important. If you've been around for a while on my channel, you'll know that I used to have a little podcast called Peeve Squeaks, where I would essentially tell some stories, and one of the stories that I think the only story I ended up like bawling my eyes out telling was a story about a maple tree that was in my grandparents' backyard. This maple tree is really, 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 really significant to me. I'm gonna make an episode about it in Blackbird's era. And so this is kind of a prelude to that, of Wild Child being safe in the maple tree. This is a maple tree. Yes, Blue Streak, I hope it doesn't trigger me too bad. I know it's going to inevitably, but I have the mindset going in of I'm prepared for that, and I know that, and I'm ready to cry about whatever I need to cry about, because I can now, and I'm safe now, and I'm not stuck there, I'm not trapped there, it's not nearly the same circumstance. I'm going in with the mindset of knowing that I'm visiting. I'm a visitor, and my therapist has helped me significantly throughout this entire process of going on this trip and everything, so I will be okay, and I also have a support system there to help me if I'm not okay, and I will not engage if I make myself too badly triggered, so don't worry, I will take care of myself. But yes, that was the 2nd episode of Year 7, free, because this was my freedom as a child, was being able to go to my grandparents' house and just be a kid. Because I hadn't felt being a kid since my brother was born, essentially. Next episode I'm bringing up does have some bullying in it, some pretty bad bullying, just as a forewarning, as a bit of a content warning, we have bullying. Of course. I'm not gonna put up the little content warning thingy until I start actually getting into it. Alright, so this is an episode called Ant Houses, and essentially, as a kid, I was basically outcasted on playgrounds. I'm assuming it's because I'm autistic. I don't really know what I did wrong. I really tried to make friends. You can see that in all the previous years leading up to this one, that Wild Child wanted companionship and wanted friendship and just couldn't do it. Even though I did it by the book, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And people just saw right through me or something, and they just didn't like me, and I never knew why. Aww.
Something about the way you animate trees. Lovely.
Oh, thank you, Goldfish Jamer. Oh my gosh, I like never get compliments about the animation. That's so nice. Thank you. Nobody ever really comments about that kind of stuff because it's so consistent. Like, I'm so consistent in my work, and I upload so frequently and so quickly that I feel like people are just so invested in the story that they forget that it's like my voice acting and my writing and my animation skills. Like, they forget all of the talents that have to coalesce to create Persona Project. So it's really nice when I do get compliments about the artwork where they're like, wow, I really like that you animated this little leaf falling and it's just so fluid. And I'm like, thank you. God, somebody noticed that, like, it's not just like magically being beamed out of my brain onto a canvas. Like, I have to put so much effort into it. So, like, I appreciate that, dude. Like, that is like a high compliment for me when somebody actually points out the fact that it's a piece of art. Like, because it is. But yeah, I used to get picked on the playground, so eventually I just decided to play by myself, and I would make these little ant houses. And yes, I would make little mailboxes and everything out of leaves and sticks and acorns, and I'd make little houses for the ants. I loved animating the little ant and his little antenna. He's very cute. I love animating the little critters in Persona Project that make me very happy. He's like looking around. He's like, oh yeah, I love this house. And then there's a cute little thing of Wild Child kissing the ant. Mwah! And then people are like, what is wrong with her? But like, oh, I love the little ant crawling away. But yeah, this golden retriever girl is gonna be an important character to Blackbird. How do I even describe this person? This person is a bully to Wild Child, but to Blackbird, Blackbird joins the bully's side. Blackbird is like, you know what? If you can't beat him, join him. So Blackbird joins this golden retriever character in the bullying, and becomes a bully herself. So, spoilers. This golden retriever dog will obviously look different in Blackbird's era. I haven't entirely come up with a design yet that I've been happy with, so that's why we haven't seen it in the design video. The design videos are concepts, they're not like 100% like exactly what they're gonna be, and I don't include every character every time. But she becomes Blackbird's friend, which is weird to say, because it's a very uneasy alliance. But this character definitely terrorized Wild Child, and I will put up my little warning now because we're gonna get into some of the more physical violence. I constantly would get dirt kicked into my face by these people, or dumped into my hair, which, by the way, getting dirt out of really long curly hair is not fun or easy. But Sans Parker 2 powerful. No, I saw that. I love the Sans Parker. I saw it this morning and I was like, oh my god, I love it. It's like everything I could ever want my whole life. Makes me so happy. But yeah, I used to get very badly bullied by these people, and it was always very physical. You can see the background changing to dark as I realize that this is no longer a happy memory. This crocodile kid was a huge bully of mine too. He lived in my neighborhood and would like chase me from the bus stop home and stuff. Like, I was terrorized more than just in school. Like, it was a problem that persisted everywhere in my young life. And this is a very, I hate talking about this. This is a very embarrassing fact about me that I was very, very embarrassed to post on the internet. I feel a lot of guilt and shame about this, so please be nice to me. But if I laugh too hard or you tickle me, I will pee my pants. That is something that I've dealt with my entire life. I'm pretty much banking on it being a medical condition because I have a lot of medical conditions surrounding my whole bladder. So, you know, it could be that people were bullying me for something that I, you know, had a medical problem with, question mark, which would be pretty on brand. But it is very embarrassing to me, and I used to hate bringing it up as a kid because people immediately, for whatever reason, the second they learned that I would pee my pants if they tickled me, they would try to tickle me. I don't know why the neuron monkey brain activation would be like, this person said to not do this and just laid a boundary. Let me do the exact opposite to see if they're lying. So, like, I spent most of my childhood getting tickled against my will. And being forced to, I guess, prove the fact that I have this condition. So, that's what happened here. I got essentially tackled to the floor, held down, and tickled until I peed my pants. And then when I did, I ran to the teacher, and of course the teacher was just like, oh my god, you peed your pants again, ugh, and was just more upset at me, not the people who were bullying me, physically abusing me. They didn't believe my story. Anytime I came up with my pants peed, they'd be like, oh, you're just a stupid little kid who isn't potty trained. Like, oh, you're not potty trained. Are you a baby? Are you a little baby? You don't need diapers. And that was a exact quote from the school nurse. That, oh, you're too old for diapers, is what I was told. When I was bullied to the point of soiling myself, yeah, that's what I was told. So, I was given my clothes in this stupid bag that I had to carry around all day, and it was always such a shameful thing for me to have to, like, basically show everybody in the school that, like, yeah, I peed my pants, and it was just so embarrassing. So much of my childhood is hinged on embarrassment, and that's why I have a personality disorder now. People wonder where avoidant personality comes from. This. Intense, consistent, public humiliation. Intense guilt and shame. Unfathomable amounts of embarrassment. Throughout everything I do. Also, god, the fucking music is sending me. It's just like circus music while I'm explaining my trauma, but that's just the vibe we go for here, okay?
It's a thought. They say the tickling feeling is a defense mechanism to get potential predators off of you. Could peeing be another method to gross potential predators away when that happens?
I mean, maybe. There are some species of animals that do that. I mean, that's absolutely true. It could be a genetic thing. I have no idea, Tyler, but, like, either way, it is just something that happens to me. Luckily, I haven't had that issue, like, ever. But yeah, it's definitely, like, a really crappy thing to have as a kid and be exploited. And so, this was kind of a really sad moment for Wild Child because she goes to, quite literally, stand up for herself. She gets up on the chair, she's like, no, I didn't do this, I'm a victim of bullying, and nobody listens. And so she develops this mindset that no one will believe her. And let me tell you how dangerous this mindset is to have as a child. To have the mindset that you are a victim but no one will believe you, that sends you into a world of silence and pain that I can't even begin to describe. If you've been there, you know. It is just, I don't even have words for how much it makes me feel to know that I developed this core idea that I carried through my entire life, that people will never believe my story. So, telling Persona Project to me is a monumental feat, because I still have that fear that no one believes me, that everybody thinks this is bullshit, and that my life is just actually a lie and nothing really truly ever happened. I'm just making it up, or I'm being dramatic, or I have all of that gaslighting and all of that negativity in my body at all times. And it sucks because, like, this is my truth, but I still got that from this day forth.
You're doing G-Read, just so you know.
Oh, thank you, the doghouse. Oh, thank you. All the hearts. It didn't come up on the screen, but there's lots of pink hearts, so that's so cute. Thank you. They look like, oh, they look like the conversation hearts, little chalk hearts. I love them. I love chalk hearts. Thank you. Thank you for the smiles. I needed that. So sweet. But yeah, this is where a lot of the bad developed as far as the humiliation goes. I've been humiliated for so long by my parents, by my peers, by everybody in my life, that I grew numb. Like, I just shut down. And this is kind of where the depression begins for me. The depression of knowing that I'm in a terrible situation and there's no hope of escape. And that's kind of what this episode is. It's like, honestly, a testament to me being able to speak my truth. Oh, yo! Anthony became a member! Hey! Welcome to the club! Welcome to the club! Welcome, Peeflet. Welcome, Peeflet. I don't have a little animation set up for it yet. Darn, but I will still sing the welcome to the club for you. How about that? Thank you, Goldfish Tamer. Oh, bye-bye. Thanks for popping in. It's always nice to see you. But yeah, the ending has me hugging her. And I'm like, yeah, no one believed her. But everybody can believe her now. I know it's like 20 years too late. But we can at least, people can believe her now. People can believe us now. And that's why it turns into this happy kind of background at the end, because it's a very big healing moment to be able to be like, despite everyone's efforts in my past to silence me, I'm speaking loud and clear now. So that is the point of this project, really, truly, is to get to this point with all of my memories, to where I can look back and be like, yeah, you had to wear donation clothes. Yeah, you were super humiliated. No one believed you that you were bullied. But I know I was bullied. Do they really need to believe you? No, because I know what happened to me. And I can scream it from the rooftops, and if people don't want to believe me, that's not my problem. So it's definitely like a self-empowering thing for me to look at Wild Child and be like, no. Like, you are being heard, at least by me at the bare minimum. So, just being that adult in that kid's life right now for myself. Okay, but moving forward, because we got a lot to go over, just so much today. I've got to, like, kick it into high gear. Oh, I also got to take off my jacket. It's, like, actually warm out today. Holy crap. So good. Oh, I'm so excited. But this episode is so silly! I almost cut this episode. There's some episodes that I, like, almost cut all the time. But I don't know, there's something about this one where I was just like, I don't know, it seems a little, like, uncanny in the middle of, like, all the sadness, but I was like, no, that's actually kind of the point. So, this is where I started to learn how to cook. Yeah, I started cooking at, like, 6 years old. So I started to learn how to cook stuff. My dad was a huge help in that because I really like to be involved. I'd climb up on the countertops, I'd make him coffee in the morning, and then I'd stand up on a little step stool to reach the oven, and I would cook up some eggs and toast for me and my brother, and like, I loved helping my dad grill steaks, and it's mostly because I have an obsession with fire. That never went away. I'm still a pyromaniac. I love fire. Parker's entire era is centered around the element of fire, so yeah, I really love fire, man. I can't stop rambling about how much I love fire. But as a child, it was definitely like a concerning amount of fire that I liked. And this should be a reaction image for sure. Like, that panel alone is a mess. But I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe we survived my whole childhood without burning anything, and then we're just basically goofing off, talking about, how my dad would burn the Texas toast and all that good stuff. But, this is like the silly part where I would, like, pretend to ski my carrots down a mountain of mashed potatoes and sing, Don't Stop Believin'. But don't stop skiing, and I'd like sing all these little songs, and this is actually like a little Halloween costume that I had as a kid. It was called like, I don't know, like Groovy Disco Girl or something, and like it was like some generic costume, and like I used to love putting on performances and singing and like dancing and like stuff that I don't do anymore, actually, now that I think about it. Interestingly, I don't really, unless it's like voice acting, I don't really engage in these kinds of things. And this is kind of the only point in my life in which I like did these things. Mostly because my dad gave me a safe space to do it, but I used to love just performing. And like, this is kind of just a sweet little episode about like how my dad's music influenced my childhood and my life. And I'd make songs out of everything. Butter on my bread, I literally would sing like songs about everything. So it's just a very, like, I come from a very musical family, and it felt like I had to include that in my story, because I was like, man, I feel like I've touched on it a little bit, but like, I really want to exemplify how musical everything really is.
Wild child be like, then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Oh my god, Tyler, you're on fire today. Hold on.
Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked!
That's awesome. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Tyler. But yeah, this is just a really, I don't have much to say about this episode other than, like, yeah, come from a musical family. Really, oh, I have so much to say about the next episode. I have, like, hours worth of content I could say about the next episode, but I'll try to condense it down here. Let's talk about the episode titled Divorce. Obviously, content warning, I'm gonna talk about divorce! Who would have guessed? And let it be known that YouTube demonetized this video. So let that sink in for a second. But you know what videos did not get demonetized? Any others. No other video of mine has gotten demonetized. Except this one. Now let me tell you, there are other episodes of Persona Project who go over way fucking worse topics than divorce. I'm talking, I'm getting dragged across the floor, physically abused. I'm talking, like, there's episodes that are age restricted that are not even demonetized. YouTube demonetized this one because, oh, we don't want people to get divorced. We like to enforce really strange ideals onto people, that marriage is permanent and good, and that you should always stay together even if you're in literal abuse. Like, what, YouTube? What message are you sending? Because I'm pissed the ever-loving fuck off about this episode being the only one to get demonetized, when I have literal child exploitation in my past that I have talked about, and that's okay to show to people? That's okay to make money off of. But divorce is where we draw the line? Oh. Oh. You should see, I'm sweating. I'm so angry. Yeah. Just to be perfectly transparent with you all, because I feel this is a load of bullshit, and I feel that this is wrong, and maybe we should do something about this. YouTube won't ever do anything about this, because YouTube profits off of things like this, except when it interferes with some unspoken taboo thing, like divorce, apparently. So, that aside, I'm gonna calm down. This episode is a lot. This is very much verbatim, almost exactly, like to a T, how it happened to me. I was swinging on the countertops at my nanny's house, and I asked her where my parents were, because I was staying at her house. And she said that they were in school. And I was like, okay. Didn't question that. At all.
You have no idea how much you helped me. Heart, orange heart, yellow heart, green heart, blue heart, purple heart, black heart.
The way it read it all out. Oh, Doghouse, that's your third one. How awesome. Thanks for the rainbow of hearts. That's so sweet. Holy crap. I didn't expect it to read it all out. That's really funny and actually kind of cute that I was like,
I'm gonna read the whole thing out.
Okay, little text-to-speech. You read that to your little heart's content. Literally. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god, that made me smile so much. Thank you. Dude, I just, yeah. So, I didn't know what was happening, but I pretty much knew that something was coming to an end because this was my reality, was my parents fighting, and me trying to protect my brother. This is the part that... I gotta put up the content warning. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Apologies. It's up now. Please be warned, what I'm about to talk about is very heavy. This is a prelude to the next episode about being homeless. I remember running into my dad's arms when he picked me up from Nanny's house. And I remember my brother didn't come with us. And I remember thinking that was kind of weird. I remember that my brother stayed behind because he was waiting to be picked up by my mother. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Where am I going with Dad? That doesn't involve Rocky. That's weird. I ended up in the school's counselor's office, and they basically tried to feed me a narrative that wasn't working for me. This episode actually was like the episode that I talked to my therapist about the most, because I had some really complex trauma and feelings around this divorce, mostly because my trauma isn't what you think it is. It's not the fact that, oh, boo-hoo, my family got torn apart. No. That's not what happened to me. This divorce was actually the best thing that's ever happened to me. And when all the adults in my life were, like, patting my back and giving me tissues and saying, it's okay to be upset, you can cry all you want, this is really tough, and I'm like, what is so tough about this? This is not hard, this is good, why is everyone sad? I'm confused. Like, most of my childhood, this is just... The turmoil I felt was confusion, because I wasn't performing right as an autistic person. I felt like I was failing the neurotypicals because I wasn't crying enough, and I wasn't performing enough to be like, oh, I'm supposed to be sad? Shit, I'm not sad, sorry, I can't fake that. I'm excited, actually. I get 2 birthdays, I get 2 Halloweens, and 2 Christmases. Like, I'm so excited, and, like, all the adults are, like, miserable about me being happy, and they just keep wanting me to cry. And I couldn't. I could not cry because I didn't need to. And it was so weird that, like, it's just so, like, how do I even explain this concisely? Growing up in a world that isn't built for you. The expectations that you have it really truly does feel like a performance, and I feel like that was a performance that I failed. But it wasn't one that I felt bad about failing. It was the only time I felt very authentic in myself, because I was like, no, like, I'm gonna be positive and I'm gonna be happy because everybody says it's sad. Well, I'm not sad, so then I must not be sad. And like, I actually just kind of took it in stride, and because like, what I narrate is very true. I already cried every tear I had for my family. As they were fighting, as the turmoil was going on, the abuse, everything that was going on behind closed doors in that house, I had already cried over it for my entire life. So why would I cry about it now? It's already done. Like, to me, I already knew shit was fundamentally broken from the get-go. I mean, when I was born, a family murder happened. When I was born, man. Like, nothing about my family was ever going to be normal. Or right. Ever. I accepted that so early. Like, so early. I guess I was just way far ahead than people thought. Because yeah, we have my aunt in the background, and she's the crux. She's the reason why all this happens. And it's just like, I always knew that. But this is the shot that gets me, because this is a real, verbatim realization, exact, like, I beamed it from my brain onto the canvas. I know I just said that that's not how it happens, but this one time it did happen. You had to be there. So, I was sitting at the dinner table with Mom and Rocky, and we were eating her shitty goddamn chicken dinner, which I am so traumatized, dude. Oh my god, my white-ass mom could not cook chicken for the life of her. She would salt and pepper it and then bake it until it was so dry you could barely eat it. It was horrible. Oh my god, don't even get me started about that chicken, dude. I will die. So anyways, I was eating that, and I looked over, and I realized that Dad's chair was empty, and that it would always be empty. Forevermore. And it was a moment where I realized, oh, is that what they were talking about? That nothing was ever going to be the same again? It's like, I guess I had the realization of like, oh, that's what they wanted me to cry about. But it was also a weird feeling because I knew that my dad wasn't gone. Like, he didn't, like, leave forever. So it's just an interesting, like, thing to be, like, conflicted about, because it was kind of the only time where I was like, is this sad? And I feel like my brother, this is something that I don't ever speak for my brother in any of these scenarios. I just want to put that out there. This is my story. I'm not in any way telling my brother's story. But from my perspective, watching my brother, the reason why I have Rocky crying in this shot, and the reason why I wipe away his tears, is because my brother never knew a family that was together. My family never knew, or my brother never knew, like, what it was like to have parents that were together. My brother, they got divorced when he was 2. So, to me, as an adult looking back on that, I at least had 6 years of my life with the sense of, I guess, your nuclear family normalcy that he never got. So I feel that, from my perspective, there is like this sadness that my brother probably had without realizing, maybe a subconscious sadness of just, he did not have the same experience as me, and he missed out a lot. And so, yes, there was a bit of mourning and grief behind this, but it wasn't like everybody was probably expecting. And so, I took this moment in knowing that my parents were, splitting up, and that's when I went all in on, I'm gonna take care of my brother, and I'm gonna shield him from this. And that was kind of the moment where I realized it was me and him against the world. That we never really had parents. This was like kind of it for me, where I just went, you know what? It's over for me. I lost my family. All of these people are telling me that I lost my family, but Rocky did not, and I'm gonna make sure of it. And that's just kind of the little warrior in Wild Child that I can't explain where that fire comes from. I don't know where that came from. Maybe some instinct of mine. But I've always felt that way about my brother. I've always wanted to give him what I never had and protect him. I think that's just fundamentally who I am. Like, I don't know where it comes from. Alright, next episode. Little heavy. Fair warning. I mean, I've got the content warning up, but just, it gets worse. Unfortunately, this is just a downward spiral. This episode is about being homeless. And I'm gonna set my pen down. I'm about to get serious. I don't want to hear about people discrediting what I have gone through. Or questioning what I have gone through. In the sense of, let me paint this picture for you. There was a roof over my head, yes. It was a shell of a mobile home. But it was a shell. We had no furniture. We didn't even have floor, it was concrete. We had walls, we had windows, and we had a roof. And that's all we had. To me, I consider that homeless. That is not a home. That is a husk of a house. I know some people probably will argue against me saying that no, that's not homelessness. Because technically I had a roof over my head. But to me, in my experience of living in a home, I can safely say that that was being homeless. To me, in my experience. To me, that is being without a home. I may as well have slept outside. Like, it would not have been very much of a difference. So, just a fair kind of warning to not be an ass and discredit my experience. That is all. Because I definitely had that fear going in of people being like, oh, you're being so dramatic, you weren't actually homeless. But like, let me just be very clear. Yes, I was. I was 6 years old, and I had to learn to build a house. I don't know what else you would call that.
What you just said was beautiful. Hard.
Oh my god.
Hard.
I just facepalmed so hard at the text-to-speech. Thank you, the doghouse. If you could definitely refrain from sending so many hearts though next time so it doesn't keep repeating it, that'd be nice, because now it's just going crazy. It's broken a little, but thank you, that's so sweet. I tend to say a lot of deep philosophical things on these Let's Talk live streams, because I this is my life. Like, we go. But yeah, not here to define what being homeless means. I think it's up to interpretation at this point, as far as the individual and their own experiences. Because some people consider living in their car to not be homeless, but some people consider that to be homeless. So I feel that it is a personal definition, and this is my personal definition of not having a home at 6 years old. 7 years old now. I keep forgetting what year I'm on. 7 years old. Technically the divorce happened when I'm 6, so it's like, this is like before my birthday, essentially, in year 7. Like, I do this in chronological order, but... Silver, heart, angry emoji. And TTS always sounds angry, I don't know. He's got some pent-up energy. God. But yeah, this episode is about after the divorce. When I came home with my dad, when I came to where we were staying with my dad, and I'm like, hey, where's our family?
I hope you know you're amazing.
Oh, thank you, Doc. Oh my gosh, that's your 5th one. Dang, dude, let's go. Oh, I know, thank you. I know I am amazing. I'm very humble. I know I don't really, like to credit myself very much, but I do know that what I've been through has been insane, and I get told all the time that I should not be standing, but I am. So, and this is just the beginning. Like, I really can't prepare you for what's to come. But, yeah, I ask, like, where's mom? Where's my brother? Are they coming home soon? And then I was told that this was our home now. Which distressed me deeply, because as a child, being in a foreign place that you've never been to before, and seeing that it is nothing but concrete and walls, and being like, where's my bed? Where's my toys? Where's my VHS tapes? Where's the food? Where's the water? Extremely goddamn distressing as a child. Who, I was already built for survival. I know how to survive myself, but there wasn't any tools to survive with. And that was terrifying to me. Because previously, my parents had at least given me that. They had at least had things for me to survive with, I just had to figure out how. But in this instance, we just had a blanket. And the most ironic thing about this blanket is that it is a 12-month calendar blanket. And at the bottom, it has my family name. And the year that my parents got married, it was a marriage gift that my mother gave to my father when she kicked him out. So if you want to let that sink in, the irony of having to sleep on the floor on top of a blanket that the marriage was founded on after a divorce, life is so fucking ironic. And I don't mean this to be like... It's poetic, right? It's poetic, right? Like, there's meaning in everything. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, this is... Wow. This is like some next level symbolism that was just created in my day-to-day life. It's just... Wow. Like, I look back at that and I'm just like, wow. Like, I think the worst part about all of this is that I'm trying to, you know, tell my dad, hey, I don't think this is good. We don't have anything. And my dad is just like in complete disarray, distress, crying. And this is kind of I had a very like profound moment of derealization, of dissociation, of being like, where am I? What's happening? My dad is crying. My dad doesn't cry. Dad doesn't cry. My parents never cried in front of me. Like, ever. They never expressed emotions around me very much, unless it was, like, insane amount of anger. They were very, like, to themselves about their emotions, so when my dad started crying and holding me, I was like... I could feel my world slipping. Like, I could feel reality gone. Like, if you've ever fallen into derealization, it's very much like you're outside of your own body watching yourself in a dream kind of feeling. And that's this whole memory for me, is just me being on the outside being like, did this really happen? This is never the music for the situation, Mal. That's kind of the gimmick of my streams. I always pick the happiest goddamn music when I know I'm gonna be going into some heavy shit, so there's something to grab onto when it just seems really dour and hopeless. Because if I played sad violin music, it would be too much and I'd be crying. So, it's a tactic for me, to, like, stay focused and not get too caught up. But... yeah, it was a weird moment where I was laying there as my dad was crying all night, and I'm like, wow. We are homeless? My whole world is upside down? I have nothing, absolutely nothing but the clothes on my back and this blanket. And my dad, who is broken. Like, I have no means for survival. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't bathe, I can't do 99% of human behavior. I had no idea what we were gonna do. Like, this was the pit. This is like the abysmal pit that I below rock bottom. Rock bottom has a fucking floor and I fell through it, and this was it. I had nothing. Like, literally. We had to wash, oh my god, I'll go into it more, but we had the outside water worked. The inside water we didn't have any plumbing yet. But the outside water worked before we got the inside plumbing working. So I would have to wash my clothes and myself in a wheelbarrow outside of this house. For like the first, like, I don't even know how long. But I have a lot of memories of essentially taking a bath in a wheelbarrow. When I say that I grew up in a really shitty situation, I can't really... As many episodes as I've made, I can't make them all. But I'm not shitting you. This is, like, where I come from. And, like... Yeah. Yeah, I am at Bedrock in Minecraft, and then I broke through and I fell in the void. Exactly. That's a perfect description. And all of this happened, by the way, while my rich-ass grandparents did nothing. They'd rather see their grandbaby be in this situation with my dad, with their own son, than help him because he divorced somebody, because it goes against their ideals. They did not want divorce to ever happen, because they're very traditional. But my dad was the one who was being abused in this situation, and he got out of it, and then he was met with no support. So, fuck them. That is bullshit. Can you imagine your son coming to you and saying, hey, I got out of this abusive situation, I'm homeless, please help, I have one of my children, and they say, no, you're not welcome in our house, leave? I could have at least been spared bathing in a wheelbarrow and living on the concrete floor. But they decided it was more important to teach my dad a lesson, quote unquote. So let it be known that these motherfuckers should burn in hell. I'm so pissed off for Wild Child in this moment. You have no idea. I'm so angry. Like, that they turned their back in the most disgusting, vile way. When, like, we knew that my mom was a piece of garbage, and they knew that, but they were so hell-bent on their religion, and their beliefs, and their traditions, that they'd rather put us through this. Like, talk about never forgiving them. My god. My god. I don't know if they're alive, but if they aren't, I hope that they are in hell. That is all. I don't have very much vengeance in my bones, but goddamn do I have it when it comes to protecting Wild Child. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I could see this misery going on with my dad, and I just stood up, and I got to work. Like, I did the only thing that I could do in this scenario. Like, I had been parentified for this moment, dude. My parents fell the fuck apart, and I picked up the pieces, and I said, we are gonna build this house, and I'm gonna make it a safe place so I can survive. This is, like, the epitome of my life, is just going from the bottom, and climbing and crawling my way back up to the top, and probably being pushed back down to do it all over again. That is essentially what my life cycle is. You will find out very quickly why I call it a curse. So yeah, I did the plumbing with my dad. I vividly remember the purple pipe glue. I remember building a futon with him, and that was like a huge deal. That was like the best day ever when we got that futon, dude. It was awesome. It was like, I could recall every single thing that we got in what order because of how important and amazing it was. It was like, first we got the futon. Oh my god, let's go. Then we got a little cabinet. We got a little cabinet that, like, would hold our food. And then we got, a refrigerator. And then we got, like, it was just like, I could recall exactly what we got. And then we got my bed. We got my bed. I got my bed before my dad ever got his bed. So that just goes to tell you how much of a good dad he was. he had that futon forever before he got his own. Like, he made sure that us kids had stuff way before him. Okay, Tyler, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining, moderating. And all your funny jokes. You're on fire today. Oh yeah, Fizzy Dizzy. Defend a murderer. Thumbs up. Divorce. Thumbs down. No, for real. I will go into it more, but they had a severe favoritism over their daughter than their son. And it really shows. Like, the daughter could murder people and that was okay, but the son could be abused and leave it, and that's like the worst crime you could ever commit. This was a memory that I didn't fully, like, explain in this episode just because of time constraints, but I essentially made bracelets out of zip ties, because we had a bag of zip ties to, like, close doors and stuff, because we didn't have handles on doors. Ha ha ha! We had zip ties! Yeah! That level of house building where we didn't have any hardware for the doors, so we got zip ties. So we had a bag of zip ties, and I remember making a bracelet out of them and showing my dad and being like, look at my cool bracelet! And it made my dad cry so hard. Like, I showed him these bracelets thinking that, oh, I'm gonna cheer him up. I'm like, look how fun we're having. And, like, I'm making bracelets out of, like, stuff that we have lying around. How cool! And he just, like, started bawling, dude. He was so sad. Like, bro was so sad. And I was just like, man, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that would be very sad if your 7-year-old runs up to you and is like, look, zip tie bracelets! This is the best day ever! Like, that's so sad and pathetic. 7-year-olds, you should not be resorting to that as a source of entertainment. And it is sad. Like, it is morbidly sad. Like, I understand why he cried now, but as a kid, I did not get it. And this is also the unspoken part as well.
Hi, you're a big inspiration of mine and I love you and your content, yeah, keep being you.
Oh, thank you, I am Rabbit6. Oh, that's so sweet, dude. I'm happy to be an inspiration, dude. Let's go. Hope you keep enjoying everything that's to come. We're just getting started with Persona, I feel. Good lord. But yeah, the other unspoken thing is that eventually the custody battle ended up being this weird thing where, like, my mom tried to separate us. Yeah. That. My mom only wanted my brother. My mom wanted nothing to do with me. My mom tried to get rid of me by pawning me off to my father. But that wasn't gonna work because my dad loved both of us. And, like, she was not gonna get away with taking one and then being like, okay, now it's even, you get the other one, bye, and then leaving. Like, no way in hell was my dad gonna let that shit happen. So, like, he fought very hard, and he got perfectly split custody. And so, eventually, me and my brother were reunited, but there was a good chunk there where, like, we were separated. And he lived with my mom, and I lived with my dad, so my brother completely missed out on this whole homeless thing. Which I am extremely grateful for. I look back and think to myself, and I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I didn't have to take care of my brother on top of being homeless. You know, at least I could deal with one problem at a time. God, I gotta count my blessings where they're at, because we don't got many, so, you know, I'm just glad that my brother didn't have to go through this. But he was there during some of the construction periods, and he definitely tried to fall into the air vents a lot, because the air vents were on the floor, because it was a mobile home, and I had to rescue him from getting sucked into the void of the air vent. Damn, this music's rocking, let's go. But I helped put in the floors with my dad, and we ended up just fixing up the whole house, and that's exactly what it looks like. Ugly blue door. And this is a fun shot because basically, if you remember, there was a previous episode called Hero, where my dad was my hero, and he rescued my Elmo, and he was always there for me. So this is kind of a good, same side of that coin, but different, where I am wearing the cape, and I'm the hero in this scenario. So I lifted him up this time. And to me, that's family. That's what family was. Family was, we help each other, we lift each other up, we be each other's heroes. And so that was a really important shot for me to include, that I took the blanket, the stupid goddamn divorce blanket, and I became a hero. Despite all odds. And really pulled my dad through a really bad time. I knew that I was the light of his life. I knew it. Like, I was so self-aware. And we got through it. And we built that house, and we made it. Somehow. And I also want to clarify that the shell of the house that we had was on a property that my grandparents used to rent out, essentially. So there was 2 houses on this acre property that my grandparents would rent out. The house in the back had nobody living in it. The house in the front had nobody living in it. But the problem with the house in the back was that it was, like, abandoned for many, many, many years. So it was, like, really, really gross and falling apart. So we couldn't live in that house, even though it was more livable. So we had to live in the shell. So essentially, my grandparents didn't totally abandon us in the sense that they're like, yeah, you can stay on that property, whatever. But they still made my dad pay rent for an empty fucking shell. So I don't really want to give them that credit either, because they still made him pay for it. Which is just complete garbage. Just scum of the earth kind of bullshit. And this is also a good contrast, because I just talked about how my grandparents were my freedom. And then they did shit like this to me, and I didn't realize that as a kid, that they were the ones that were doing it to me. I just thought nothing of that, you know? So, I didn't know that that was the reality. And that's kind of what my whole childhood is like. I didn't know the reality. And honestly, it's probably for the best. So the next following episode, I'm gonna take the content warning away because it's definitely a lot lighthearted. And actually, recently, I found, oh my god, I gotta show you guys, hold on. I went digging through folders, and I did not know I had these, but I have the actual velvet art that Wild Child made. I'm gonna pull it up on the program so you guys can see it. Just a second. I gotta get it onto this program, which is always a pain in the booty. But this episode is about velvet art, and it's about Wild Child adding the first splash of color to this house. So basically, it's all about me and my dad going to Home Depot and getting a bunch of supplies for the house, and then I get some velvet arts, and I color them in, because I love velvet arts, because they're like fuzzy coloring posters, and the texture was awesome. And I would always be running off into the acre to go, I don't know, catch bugs or snakes or something, and my dad could never keep an eye on me. Because I wanted to go out and explore, but it just really wasn't safe. Like, it was very much like overgrown woods type of thing. This lot had been abandoned for several years. So, my dad, to keep me occupied, gave me velvet arts to draw, and he was like, your job is to fill the walls with colors. Like, it's, you know, like, we don't have any paint yet, but you need to put up posters and make it look pretty in here. And that was my quote-unquote job. So I was like, oh yeah, I got a job, I gotta do my job. So I would be like all focused on it. He just totally bamboozled Wild Child into staying indoors. But I want to show you guys, like, the actual drawings that I have, because I do have the exact velvet arts from this time period. I found them. Here they are. I'm gonna turn this to where you can see it. The one on the left is the one that Wild Child made for her room, and the one on the right is the one that I made for my dad. And I vividly remembered the lion one being my dad's, And it was really funny when I pulled these out of my folder under my bed that I didn't realize I had. I was like, oh my god. I remembered details so well in the animation. Like, it didn't come through because I, like, drew the picture in a separate tab. But I remember the lion. I remembered the lion's chin being red for some reason. Like, that's how good my memory is, y'all. I remember that so vividly that I made the lion's chin red. I think it was because I was like,
Oh, the lions have been eating the zebras and they're all bloody.
like it being all like, like, I guess like intense in that way, like how kids are. But yeah, like the detail in this is crazy for like a 7-year-old. Like, everything's colored right. Like, all the grass is colored right, all the little raindrops are colored right. Like, I look at the details and like, everything's colored in so well.
Just wanted to say thanks for all the good work you do, and that we're all proud of you, Hawley. I hope to see your healing journey continue. Smile.
Aww, first one in the garden. Thank you. It's been so cool having you on the Discord and having you like in the community, dude. Thank you. It will continue. It will go strong. It's been going so well so far. We're just getting started for real. But yeah, this is the velvet art that she made, and I hung it up in my room. It's right here in front of me, because now I have a picture. I only have one picture from my childhood of myself and Rocky, and now I have the velvet art right next to it. I cried a lot when I hung it up, but it was so needed, because that was the first splash of color in this whole house, was hanging up the velvet art in everybody's room. And I don't have Rocky's because I did give it to my brother. I don't know if he has it anymore. Probably not. But it's one of those things where the fact that I still have it is crazy. It's just a good connection to my past to remind me that it's real. Because a lot of the time I do fall into the dissociation of feeling like nothing is like real. So, having something tangible helps a lot. And that was velvet art. That was that episode. I was so happy that I found it so I could show you guys, like, that I still have little pieces of childhood left in, that I still have Wild Child's things, even though they're few and far between. They're still here, and I think that's worth something. I'm gonna skip next episode to talk about this episode, Triggers, because it was literally one of my favorite episodes I've ever made. Oh my god, I love this episode. To bits and pieces, dude. To bits and pieces. I'm gonna put up a content warning. I'm gonna talk about triggers. Specifically PTSD triggers. This creature in the background, her name is Clockwork. She is supposed to be a dog. If you recall, in previous episodes, I was mauled by a dog. And that was kind of one of the very first, like, PTSD-esque things that have happened to me on a really big scale like that. So I decided when I designed Clockwork, she was going to be a dog. Because a lot of the little disorders, entities, are based off of animals, and they're based off of animals that are important to, like, I guess the symbolism of, yeah, I got mauled by a dog, this one's very dog-like, it very much wants my attention. I see Clockwork as a pit bull who is, like, very sweet, but everybody thinks is really big and scary and is scared of, and to me, that's what my PTSD is. It's just like a big, loving dog who's kind of just protective and seems really scary, but in reality, she's just hurt and she just wants to be loved. That's how I portray my PTSD here, is very much looking at it from my childhood's perspective of being a child and crying for seemingly no reason and being like, why is this upsetting me so much? Why am I being such a baby? And, like, Wild Child's frustration with hearing a rubber duck squeaking and being like, why am I crying? Why am I so upset? This makes no sense, it's just a rubber duck. Why do music boxes make me cry? When I hear them on TV shows, like, I don't understand what is happening to me. And then, finally, I get to explain to her that we have PTSD, and that when traumatic things happen to us, that clock on clockwork goes spinning, and we are brought back. And it's not because of something we did wrong. It's just how we coped. And it's the way that we learned to get through what we've gone through. And this is an episode of acceptance. Oh, yo, Rose Gray, welcome! You're a token, let's go! You get to be a little token running through the jungles, let's go! That's awesome, dude, holy cow, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Welcome token, welcome token, welcome token. But yeah, this episode means a lot to me, because before I used to be so mad at my PTSD, and I used to be so frustrated with myself. But this is very much like a acceptance of, no, this is a part of me, I understand why I am so scared, and like, it's a protection thing. This entity does not mean harm. This entity just needs to cry when we need to cry. And she's a protector. Very, very misunderstood creature. And that's what this was all about, was recognizing the fact that as a child I did have triggers. I just didn't know what they were called. I didn't have the understanding of mental health like I do now. So it's a really like important episode to me, because it's just one of the only episodes so far that we've had showcased an entity in a positive light. Because the episodes leading up definitely makes Clockwork seem like she's really scary in the background. But she's not. She's there to protect me in the only way I know. So it's definitely like, I don't know, it's a relieving episode for me. I loved it. I loved like working on it and being able to show the world that, like, yes, I have PTSD, but the way that I handle my PTSD isn't, like, in a negative way. It's definitely, like, a healing kind of aspect of looking at, like, I don't know, looking at, like, what I've been through and being like, you know what? I don't think I need to meet this with more anger and frustration. I think I need to meet this with an acceptance and a love. So, I love this episode. It was literally one of my absolute favorite ones to make ever. To this day. I just think it spoke volumes in ways that I can't even explain now. I think I just did such a good job with it. That was it. I'm done. Point blank. Moving right along. I knew that little sound was coming. Yippee! I love it. Sounds like a yippee to me. Ugh. Okay. Got some water. Alright, so next episode is Pixter. Very upbeat, happy little episode. I don't know if anybody else here has ever had a Pixter, but shout out if you have, or like anything that's like a leapfrog, all those old kind of 2000s little gadgets. If you are listening, you've had those things, let's go. We had a great childhood. I loved those things. But the Pixter is something that I got that I would use when I specifically went to my Mimi's house, which was not often. I think I had one sleepover there my entire childhood. But yeah, this was in the era of like portable CD players, Game Boys, which by the way, if you zoom in, we have some more silly little names. We have Pocket-mon, but it's spelled like Pocket-mon. And then we have the Mario Bros. NES, which I could have done the other way around, the Sen. So for future reference, I will be using that because you guys did that. But yeah, we had disco balls, fiberglass lights, and I had the little robot dog, the Poochie dog, and a Poochie cat. that I brought to my Mimi's house. And the fun little details in the background are like the fact that I have the rocks from the Mars Rock episode, like in the driveway. And we got to stay up late watching Teen Titans. Look how precious Wild Child is. She's so excited. My Teen Titans from memory slaps, by the way. Like, are you joking? They look great. I think it looks pretty darn good from memory. And of course we played in our Pixters. My favorite thing about my Pixter was the loading, like if you leave your machine idle for too long, it has a screensaver. And like there was this one of this 3D spinning Jack Russell Terrier, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the whole world. When it would just be spinning around, I'd like die laughing. I don't know why that was like the funniest thing in the world to me as a child, but it was. So I drew him, because I couldn't discredit him. And then I just want to point out my little SpongeBob. He's silly. He has no nose. I realized that afterwards. I was like, anyways. He's missing his nose, but that's okay. But I have one memory of that sleepover of just painting birdhouses with my Mimi. She always liked to do very nature-oriented things. She never really liked to, like, do very much outside of the house, so she had a pretty big yard, and we'd be out in nature a lot of the time. Like flying kites or painting birdhouses, whatever we would do. And yeah, she did make pancakes that spelled out my name. That was, like, the coolest thing that's ever happened to me as a kid, for real. In the morning, she just, like, very carefully made pancakes that spelled out my name. And this is kind of about how I know that my Mimi seems like a very stern kind of force of nature, which she was. She was very much a very angry individual. But, oh my god, there's something in this song that is, like, deeply unsettling me. Hold on, I gotta switch this song scares me. There's, like, something that sounds like a weather siren in it. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Anyways. Ooh, I could feel my soul sinking into my feet. Good lord. Okay, anyways. My Mimi did seem like a very, like, harsh person. She was. Did not want to show affection or love. But I could tell that she did. And that's kind of what this episode was about, was being like, I see you, Mimi. I know you loved me, and even though you were quite absent, I do want to recognize the fact that my grandparents were, on that side, my grandparents were good people. They just weren't in my life. I saw them maybe like a few times. I know it seems like they come up a lot because I talk about the main pivotal points in Persona Project, but the reality is that they were not here a lot. They were not here at all. Like, at all. I just talk about them because this is kind of the only point in which they were. And that it's very few and far between. But they were good to me when they were here, and I feel that that matters so much more than them not being here. So, I just wanted to make an episode about that and kind of touch base on the few good memories I had with them, and how grateful I am to have good memories with them. And, okay, let's keep going onwards here. We got some school episodes coming up, so you know what that means. Bullying warning. I've got lots of bullying ahead. This time is from the actual teachers bullying me. I don't know what it is. I just have, like, the worst teachers in the whole wide world. Like, ever. Like, I don't know what it is about me and my luck, but, like, literally every teacher I had was so awful. It's so bad. Like, I don't realize it until I look back and I'm like, holy crap, like, literally all my teachers were bullies and they were horrible. Jeez. But, like, yeah, she was no exception. This woman, I portrayed her as a deer. But I don't draw a deer with eyes because I am terrified of deer and have been taught to not draw owls or deer, essentially. But I am doing like a woodland creature theme for Wild Child's like little NPCs, background people. And so I felt like weird that I hadn't done a deer yet, and I was like, you know what, she's evil enough, she could be a deer. So that's why that design is there. So a lot of people pointed out in the comments, this is a point where which I had comments on, that they were like, they had pointed out something I had not noticed about the word scramble, that she didn't really say the rules, that you couldn't reuse letters. And you're absolutely right. She did not explain that to me. And as an autistic person, that would have been important to know. I didn't know the rules, but they were unspoken rules that I just, you know, didn't understand, because how was I supposed to? So, oh my god, like, yeah, it was definitely a thing where, like, apparently you weren't supposed to reuse letters, and the prompt was to make words out of the word forest. You know, like, maybe rest, maybe, that would be a good one. It's right there, you'd think. But this is also preluding to the next episode, where I'm all the way in the back of class, and I can barely see, I'm like squinting. And I guess the word test. To which the teacher came over to- This is so much more ominous in person. I want you to picture this. Sit in the classroom with me, everybody. We're all in class together, we're second graders, we're doing the word scramble. And I raised my hand. I don't raise my hand. That's a lie. The teacher picked on me specifically because I wasn't raising my hand because I didn't know what I was doing. And then she was like, okay, give us a word. And I'm like fighting for my life, and I go T-E-S-T, test. And then there's like this silence. And the teacher walks over without saying anything. Comes right up to my desk, and she goes, what did you say? And I was like, test, T-E-S-T. Like, I repeated myself, thinking, oh, maybe she didn't hear me because I'm all the way back here, and I don't have a very loud voice. I'm quite quiet in class. I'm very to myself. And then she goes, yeah, that's what I thought you said. There's no T in like, there's no two T's in forest. Like, you can't spell test with the word forest. That's not how this works. And was laughing at me. And, like, of course a couple kids join in on the giggling. Because, like, you just kind of mimic whatever the adult in the room is doing. And I don't really think they understood why they were laughing at me. But I was being made fun of. By this teacher, and I remember it being so awkward, and, like, I was just so sad, and, like, I'm obviously defending Wild Child now. That's why whenever I come into the middle of these memories, that's me being like, hold the phone, we're over it. But this is like a little bit of a flashback. This is my first grade teacher, my little Miss Ladybug, telling my parents that I need to be put in special ed. She was a very experienced teacher. She had went the whole year with me in first grade, and she was like, okay, I've noticed that your kid is gifted, has tested with this many times within the school. We have tested, yes, she is gifted, she needs to be put in special classes. And my parents got so pissed off and took it so personally. We're like, there's nothing wrong with my kid, F you. And put me in regular classes just so I could outperform everybody else. You know, like good parents do. And I was bored out of my mind in those classes for the most part, aside from struggling in really random areas, which seems to be kind of the gifted kid format, where you excel so deeply in certain things and then struggle so badly in others. Like, you really do need that personalized education, because you're different. You're built different, man. I was built different. And then they were just like, oh, why can't she read? This is BS. And I'm like, a freaking prodigy at everything else. Because I'm dyslexic and I'm only getting help from the school, like speech therapy. But yeah, my next 3 teachers, this is interesting. My next 3 teachers in 2nd grade, after I got moved out of that class, because I had convinced my mother to move me out of there because the teacher was bullying me. I don't really understand why my mom listened. She never listened to me before, but she listened then. I think it was just because she could make a grand display out of being like, my child is being bullied. Oh my god, so terrible, so horrible, poor me. It's the only way I can think that she flavored it in a way that she could benefit, and that's why I got out of that class, but yeah. I had 3 teachers after that, because I went into a class that was, it was a more advanced class, and it had 3 teachers it was rotating teachers, so you would sit in math class for an hour, science class for an hour, language arts for an hour. It'd be like a rotating thing, and then we'd go to lunch and do it again. So, it was like a really interesting thing where I had like 3 different specialized teachers, and that really helped because, oh my god, my language arts teacher, who I just drew her as a horse. The horse teacher obviously had to pay a lot of extra attention to me because I struggled in language arts, but my science teacher and my math teacher did not have to really struggle with me too bad. So, it was cool. I thought that this worked out pretty much way better than before, but it was still quite boring to me. And my parents were always so excited that I got trophies and medals and things.
I love you. 3, you are great. I drew WC.
Sweet. Let's go. You can submit the fan art. You can use the link to do that. I'd love to see it, dude. Thank you, Doghouse. Let's go. That's awesome. But yeah, I basically had this, really shameful mindset of feeling like I didn't deserve the rewards I got. And all the comments on the video were definitely people being like, no, you deserved it, but like, I still don't believe you. Sorry. I'm not convinced. Because I know that I could have done better, and I wanted to be challenged. Really, really wanted to be challenged, but I was never allowed that. And so I developed this kind of mindset of, like, guilt. Of, like, I don't deserve the rewards I'm getting because everything that I'm doing is easy, but they're treating it like it's hard. But it's not hard, so I was really confused and conflicted and guilty and shamed over receiving praise where it wasn't right. Like, morally, I had a very strong compass, and I felt that I was being insincere. Like, I guess it's more the autism shining through of being, like, I'm not being, like, authentic in the sense of, like, I just felt like I was lying in the sense of, like, everybody's like, oh, you're so smart, you're so special, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I mean, I'm not really trying. I don't really have to work hard for the grades that I'm getting. Why am I being rewarded? I feel guilty and I feel like I'm cheating. It just felt wrong. And to this day, I don't feel right about it. It definitely is a kind of a fundamentally little broken kind of crack in my childhood for sure when it comes to my education. And I definitely really wanted to talk about that because it's like a big form of I didn't deserve it is like a very bad core negative belief that I developed about myself and still have to this day. And that's why I'm so humble, overly humble. And that's why people say, oh, you're so awesome, you're so great. And I'm like, yeah, alright, anyways. I could do better though, I could do better though, I could do better though. That's the gifted kid mindset, is feeling like you have to keep going and going and going and climbing. And then the very next episode, I feel like a lot of people resonated with. This is the glasses episode, where I talk about getting glasses. I had to make some executive decisions here with this episode, artistically. I didn't want to continue to keep drawing the glasses on Wild Child, because I had just grown so attached to her design the way that it was, that I was like, permanently changing the design now would be, like, hard for me to remember now, because I've gotten into such a groove, 100 episodes, Jesus, like, yeah, so that's why after this episode the glasses, like, disappear. But just technically, this episode beyond, I am wearing glasses. Just to let it be known, I just did not want to change the design, because it was just, like, so solid, and also my glasses were really ugly. My first pair of glasses were a pair of donation frames, because we didn't have money for buying new frames. So it's just like, oh my god. Doghouse!
How do I submit fan art?
It's on the screen!
Embarrassed smiley face.
It's on the screen, sweetheart! Link in the description. Link in the description. It's right there. It's so easy. You go on, it's a Google form, you upload the file, and that's it. That's it. It's really easy. You can do this. I believe in you. Link in the description. Yes, yes. Thank you, Doghouse, for the donation. But my glasses were really ugly. They were like marbled blue, really tiny glasses. Like I did not like these glasses at all. So like I didn't want to draw them because I'm really embarrassed about them. But yeah, here's me trying to read. I'm falling on my own, tripping on my own feet, which I love little animation for. And then I do a little eye test at school. And yes, like every single comment pointed out that there's this little message on the paper. My diagnosis is you're blind, lol. Parents failed to see again, SMH. I got an F. I got an F in seeing. And it was really fun to hear everybody else's journeys of being diagnosed and getting glasses. And also, I love this hummingbird character. I thought that was a cool character design of like this little hummingbird who is just like really annoyed with my mom putting on this grand display of like, my baby's been blind this whole time. Oh my god, I'm a terrible mother. And she like is crying, and he just covers her up to like give me this whole inspirational speech of like, it's okay, like, you're gonna need to get glasses. I hope that doesn't ruin your life. And I was like, that was like an exact quote. This doctor said to me, I hope this doesn't ruin your life. And like, as an adult, I'm like, what a weird thing to say to a child, first of all. Second of all, I never felt that way. I wanted to see. I said that. I was like, but I want to see. Like, I don't care if I have to wear glasses. I want to see. And then I got my ugly blue marbled glasses. And this is kind of the cool visuals of it slowly coming into focus. And then I could see the world. And it was such a fun animation for me. Because it was just like everything was alive. And the butterflies there, the clouds are moving. There's so many fun details in this one little shot. And I loved it. It was so fun. And seeing the leaves on the trees, I could never do it justice with my cartoony little style, but the excitement I shared, I didn't even know who I was grabbing. I just grabbed my mom because, like, I don't know why I expected her to receive this positively, but I was like, Mom, look, the trees. Like, I was so excited, I didn't even think about the repercussions of expecting my mom to care. Which, of course, she spun it on herself. And as an adult, I just, like, pushed her out of the way, and I was like, it's not about you! And, like, listened to my child telling me everything about the car ride home, and telling me about seeing the water, like, in, like, the fountains, like, by ponds and stuff, and, like, describing all of her little details, telling me about her experience, because the problem was that in the moment, the only adult I had was one who was using me, was exploiting me for her own benefit, and saying, oh, my poor blind child, my poor blind baby, blah 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 blah, poor me, poor me, poor me, when in reality, I was the one that was blind. I was the one who was seeing for the first time. That had nothing to do with her. That was my experience, so I gave it back to myself by pushing her out of the way. So yeah, that's my glasses story, and I still have glasses to this day. My eyesight has unfortunately gotten a lot worse, to where I have almost gone completely blind, had to get surgery, to correct my eyes, and I'm still not 100%, I still can't see very well. I did a private live stream where I was working on a Persona episode, and you could see it in real time. Watching me try and color episodes is very hard. I can't see very well to this day. And I don't have much hope that I ever will. So it's a big part of my life. It did not ruin my life, but it is a big part of it. Happy to finally get to the point where I could talk about having my glasses. That was a great episode for me to animate. Oh boy, we got another episode coming up. Water. Oh, Jill! 88. Episode 88. For the record, 8 is my lucky number. My favorite number is 8. So of course I decided to make 88, like, one of my best episodes that I could possibly think of, which was to introduce my best childhood friend, Jill. And the question that everybody is dying to ask, yes, I still have contact with Jill. I have yet to share this episode with her. I'm a little embarrassed too, but I'm eventually gonna send it to her and be like, hey, by the way, I'm animating the story of my life, and this one's about you. Enjoy! Well, I jump scare her with the amount of views that it has. Yeah. So it's a little bit of an awkward thing, but I would like to show her eventually. I do still have contact with Jill, of course. Most people I do, who are, you know, positive influences in my life. But, yeah, basically the story was that we were on the daycare bus, which was it was a tiny bus that we go to daycare, and I noticed that she was playing Tamagotchi, and I was like, I have a Tamagotchi, and, my details are absolutely correct. I had a blue camo Tamagotchi as my first one, and we played Tamagotchis together, and that was it. That's all it took. Friendship was so easy back then, you know? I say, looking at the camera, knowing how hard Wild Child fought to be friends with anyone, dear God. It's just a matter of finding the right crowd.
Okay, I figured it out, haha.
Let's go! Awesome job, Doghouse. Pat on the back, thanks for the watermelons, and they go. Man, Peeves has a lot of watermelons. Those are big fruits. He is, like, hoarding a lot of watermelons. This is concerning. But yeah, she, like... God, how do I even explain this? Just meeting the right crowd. Being neurodivergent and then meeting other neurodivergents. You can tell the connection was just so much easier. It was just like, you like Tamagotchi and I like Tamagotchi. Done, we're friends. Like, you'd think it would be that easy for everyone, but it wasn't. But because we were both neurodivergent, it worked immediately, and it was just like the first time in my life where I was just like, wow! I have a friend, and it wasn't that hard to make. And so we would spend all of our playground days playing on the tire swing at daycare and spending the night together at sleepovers at each other's house, and like, it was always so much fun playing with Jill because it was just like my literal carbon copy clone. And I tried to make that her design too, where she looks very similar to Wild Child. Like, we're both little tadpoles running around, we're freckled, we got crazy hair, like, we very much looked like sisters. Like, it was awesome, the bond that we had, and like, the fact that we could just be like, I'm a cat, and I'm a ferret, and we'd run around and be like little animals and pretend. And while, you know, most of my childhood I spent on the sidelines, this was the exception. And this was the last time I would ever have to be out there alone, because this person stimmed with me. This person was finally the only one who understood me. Which, to Wild Child, being understood is the peak of being happy. Being accepted and understood is a very, very, very important thing to Wild Child. So this was just like Cloud 9 for her, and I give Jill a big hug because that's what I would be doing right now in real life if I could. Yeah. It's great. Thinking back on her, I'd sit here and smile because I'm flooded with so many memories that I can't possibly animate them all, but she was a wonderful friend, and I'm so happy to have had her. Seriously. She just continues to be my friend for so long, too. You'll see, it goes on into Blackbird's era, too. It's awesome. Then I have a silly little episode. The next episode's about a very funny little misunderstanding on my part, but it's just, I tell this story and I think it's the funniest thing ever. We got assigned vocabulary words that we had to use in a sentence to define it. As you can see on the paper, you can see what's about to unfold here. My vocab word is horrid. It means not very nice, causing horror, so I made this sentence. That goes like this. As soon as I got called to the front of the class, I said, "My mom thinks my dad is horrid." And then I sat there, looking for the teacher's approval, and she was mortified. She was horrified, because that's not a normal response. And then I got sent to the counselor's office, and I was like, so mad, because I was like, what did I do wrong? I just did my vocab like everyone else. Oh, the autism is hitting so hard. And then I was like, well, I mean, technically I did use it correctly, but like, it was just a concerning way to use it. The teachers were like, is everything okay at home? Like, I thought it was funny as hell. Some people thought it was sad, but like, whatever, man. You gotta laugh sometimes, dude. You gotta laugh sometimes. I think this is funny as hell. And it was just like a short little short. I like the silly stories of Wild Child being Wild Child. I'm debating on skipping the next episode. I think I'll touch base on it, but I'm not going to talk about very much of the next episode. Just a bit of a content warning. This one is, very gross, in the sense that it is very racist. It's really, really bad. And essentially, this is like another verbatim episode. Like, exactly how it happened. My very, very racist family, obviously all of them are very southern white people, they really, really sucked, and they really tried to pass that shit on to me. Guess what? Didn't work. Did not work. This woman found out that I had a good friend in 2nd grade, who was named Ellie. Or that's the code name I give. I don't give anybody's real name in this whole series out ever. But Ellie was this picture-perfect friend for Wild Child, dude. Like, I loved this girl so much, dude. We would play our DSs, we played Pokemon, we would draw together, we would roleplay together. It was like having Jill, but in my class. Because Jill wasn't in my class, she was just my daycare friend. So Ellie was like freaking the bomb.com and like had a crush on Lucario, you know, like all that silly stuff, and like was like really good at drawing. Like, I could tell that Ellie would just like trace over like the TV screen, like of watching Pokemon, and would trace Pokemon on the TV, but I always thought that that was like the coolest thing ever. But my grandma, my nanny, decided it would be the best course of action would be to take me into a room, lock the door, and then very sternly force me to make a promise to uphold her shitty, horrible, racist ideals. And she physically held me while doing this, by the way. It was physical. While she basically forced me against my will to promise. And when she yelled at me, I think that was the first time I ever was afraid of my grandparents, because I saw my aunt in them. I saw a murderer in them. Now, I just want to talk about that for a second. I want to talk about the instincts that I have. They are very strong. I have good intuition. I have amazing survival skills. Perception level like 100, okay? If I, as a child, felt like these people were going to murder me for some reason, I have every reason to believe that that was true. It definitely becomes up later, like, in Parker and Hawley's era. I will talk about how I would be afraid of my grandparents poisoning me. I would talk about how my grandparents would lock doors and entrap me in places that I did not feel comfortable and would force me to do things I was not comfortable doing, and how I felt like my life was in danger if I didn't do those things. This is being vague on purpose, but moral of the story, my gut instinct when my nanny locked me in this room and told me that I could never marry a black man or a Hispanic man because I was white and she wanted me to marry a white man, I felt like I was gonna be murdered if I said anything other than I promise. And so I was forced to make this horrible fucking promise that I never kept because I didn't mean it, because I was saying it to save my own life, because I felt that endangered in this moment. I literally couldn't look past my nanny and not see my aunt. So I made this really horrible promise, and there's this whole line of people that want me to uphold this promise to remain in this horrible mindset that I will never be. So full disclosure, I'm not racist, I never will be, and this is a safe place. I support people of color every instance I can. I live in a community full of people of color. I live with them, I work for them, I love them. I don't understand why my family would have these ideals, and my community that I live in now, like, would send my family into a spiral. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because these people have been family to me like my blood family has never been. I've never been so quick to be loved and accepted than by these people. These people that they told me to hate and outcast and never bring into my life. So, just as a forewarning, if you ever thought I was gonna be like that, you're absolutely fucking wrong. Just because I come from that background doesn't mean that I am that background. Yeah, Fizzy! My mom... Listen, although my grandmother was Native, my mom never identified as Native. Because she's very white. Her dad was white, so she only ever identified with being white. She never identified with being Native. Unless it was to the weird, gross white woman degree of being like, I'm from this tribe, yay! Which was gross. She was never actually in any way Native. She was not tied to the culture at all. She never called herself Native either. So she was very blissfully ignorant and very dismissive of any culture that she could have had, and she very much just clung to being half white. And I don't like to talk about this kind of very, like, intense kind of topic on my channel very much, but race is an important topic, and I will talk about it because it is a thing that is important to my story in some kind of way, in the sense that I am white and I am privileged because of that. And I really wanted to bring up the fact that this is kind of what happens in white families, and I know that there's a lot of stories about white families. Obviously, it's like the main fucking media. We never hear about people of color stories, like barely ever, if it's ever portrayed correctly, and not by white people. So this is just me explaining my side of the story of this is my experience. This is, my white background of these people trying to perpetuate a very sick and disgusting mindset, and this is kind of what happens behind closed doors, in case it wasn't obvious, in a very southern, very deep-rooted Christian white family. Just as a little bit of exposure to what it is, and where I come from, and why I hate it, and why I won't be like that. It's bullshit. And if you're like that, and you're on my channel, kindly leave. I don't accept that bullshit. I don't accept anybody who has any form of racism on this channel at all. If you're racist, get out of here. You're not welcome. Bye-bye. For everybody who makes comments on my videos like, you can't say that, oh my god, like, I was bullying old white people in some of my videos, basically talking about, you know, colonizers, and I was making fun of the whole school olden days that we had, where I was like, you know, old white people are not cool, wild child, And then I had my entire comment section flooding with people being like, oh, you can't say that, that's so mean, you're being racist to white people. And I'm like, dude, if nobody can make fun of white people, then who can make fun of white people? Come on, dude. Like, I'm talking about colonizers too, by the way. I'm not point blank being a jerk to, like, just one thing. I'm talking about colonizers. So most of the time on my channel, you'll never hear me talk about these kinds of things. Because, like, I'm just a peaceful person, man. I love and I let live. And it is just, that is how life should be. I love everyone, regardless of who they are. I am an accepting person to my core, always have been, always will be. And, you know, I'm just really glad I turned out nothing like these people despite all their efforts. And that's just a testimony of how much I am who I am. And this is just that episode of talking about the real weird thing about this whole conundrum is that my best friend in 2nd grade was a black girl, and my grandma looked at her and was like, oh no, what if they get married? Which is such a goddamn confusing thing for somebody who's homophobic. Like, why are you looking at your AFAB granddaughter and being like, oh no, oh no, oh no, my little white granddaughter is playing with a little black girl. They're gonna get married. I gotta have this talk with her right now. Like, Nanny? Did you know I was a lesbian? Did you know I was gonna turn out to be a lesbian? Were you more scared? Like, were you more racist than homophobic is what I'm asking. Cause I'm confused. Like, girl just really was more racist than she was homophobic, I guess. She was like, alright, well, you know, if Wild Child's gonna marry a girl, at least it's gotta be a white girl. Like, what? What's that mindset? Like, they're everything about it is flawed, right? To the point that it's laughable, and that's the whole point of the ending of this, is me being like, this is laughable. That's a good way to handle it, in my opinion. That's the way I've always handled it, is that when people are being racist, first of all, I call them out on it, and then I'm like, you know what, it's laughable. It's laughable that this is really how you feel. So, yeah. It's just, it's something that I was hesitant to bring up. I was definitely scared. I didn't want people to think that I was like my family by showing them what my family was really like. I was really scared that people were going to look at me very differently after this, but hopefully you think, hopefully, if anything, the same of me, if not better of me, that I have overcome this kind of really shitty background, and I've literally never bought into it. Like, since I was a kid, I've never, ever bought into it. I've never been racist, so it's not happening anytime soon. And again, if you are, you're not welcome here. So that's the ramble about that. I wasn't gonna get into it, but I'm like, you know what, we're here. We will. This is the only time I'm ever gonna bring it up. It's the only time racism and all the ideals that my crappy white family had come up, because I dismissed them and then I never bring them up again. Like, I shut it down right then and there. That episode, promise, is it. Like, Wild Child does not engage further beyond that point. There are some points in the very, very far future when I'm an adult, like Haley era, like, we're talking far down the line, that stuff comes up, but that's about it. So. Okay. Next episode, we're trucking along, we're almost done. I'm trying to finish concisely here, because these streams tend to take a while, and I don't have that much stamina, because I also have a big trip coming up tomorrow I gotta prep for. But, nevertheless, this episode, Tattletale, is actually based off of a comic. Oh, I'm gonna pull up the comic and show you guys. I made a comic of Persona Project before I ever made, like, an actual Persona project, per se. I basically wanted to do, like, test comics to see if it was something I really wanted to do, in this form. So I basically made a comic about all these injustices that happen in Wild Child. So I'm gonna zoom in. It's a very webtoon style comic here. So this is the comic originally. It was like coughing fit in class. I got to get the water. I get yelled at. I get a yellow card. I get physically bullied, which I changed the narrative to, because I had a lot of physical bullying already. I decided to cover a different kind of bullying. And I tell the teacher, and then I get forced to wear this tattletale. And then I'm drawing with rocks, and I write, "I love school" on the floor, and then they tell me I'm destroying school property to make me scrub it off. And I hope you learned your lesson. And then I'm like, "You're so lucky that I never learned and that my spirit's unbreakable. And then you did nothing wrong." That was the original comic, and then I just basically copy and pasted it into an animation. Where all these things happen. Literally exactly in the same order, except this time I wanted to talk about my property getting stolen, because that is something that happened a lot as a kid. I was bullied to the point where I'd get my stuff stolen a lot. And so I have a lot of anxiety about my things now. My personal, like, very few things that I own. I don't own a lot of physical items, but the ones that I do have, I get quite attached to and I get quite anxious about. So it's definitely like a thing where I wanted to bring it up at some point, so I was like, here we go, we'll put up this scenario. Like, I had the, you know, like, oh, back in like the 2000s when McDonald's had the Neopets toys that came out, the little Neopet plushies that would come in the little like adoption little boxes or whatever. Holy shit, I used to love them. I had a couple of those, and I had them in my desk, and some kids stole them. And I know the kid that did it, so I told the teacher, hey, he stole my stuff, and then the teacher gave me the tattletale. And the kid got away with it. And I got humiliated. More worse than that, the kid also afterwards came up to me, showed me in his backpack my toys in his backpack, and told me that he was gonna bring them home and throw them in his fireplace and burn them. So just let that sink in. That's the level of bullying I dealt with on a consistent basis, okay? I'm, like, I can't even make enough episodes about how bullied I was. It's really bad. Like, and so unnecessarily brutal. And these people are insane. Like, these kids must have grown up to be bonkers. Like, there's no way a kid grows up after having the mindset of, I'm gonna steal from my classmates and burn their articles to make them feel bad. You are not growing up to be a normal, sane person, sir. Sorry, I worry about you. I hope that you're doing better now. I hope you got therapy, but, like, I worry the hell about you. Like, the kids that bullied me, I seriously worry about the most. 'Cause, like, my god, what? Like, having that mindset at 6 years old is insane, dude. But yeah, here's me drawing, with the rock, and then the teacher's like, oh my god, you're in so much trouble. You gotta, it'll never come off. And I'm like, dude, it comes off with water, you're so stupid. And this is where I was like, I should have been a villain. I would have destroyed the world. But then I very hilariously, in my anger, Wild Child's chasing a butterfly, happy as can be. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't destroy the world, actually. There's no way. I have too much whimsy. Sigh. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have destroyed the world per se, but I should have been a villain for sure. Oh. But yeah, I like that episode because I added this fun little flair at the end where I was like, I would have destroyed the world, and then Wild Child's like, spirit is unbreakable as she runs by, just being silly, and it's just like, aw, like, I just think it's, I thought I handled that really well, and like, literally adapted it from the comic perfectly, which I thought was cool, and like, I like paying, like, homage to, like, the original concepts and stuff for the series. Okay, my episode order gets a little weird here because I saved everything all wrong. I don't know why. Sometimes I animate things out of order and then I mess up the actual order of episodes, so apologies if I'm going off order here. But this episode is a real-life Pokemon. Another really cute one. This one's about me and my brother coming up with Christmas lists, and the fun little Easter egg is that I gave my brother his favorite Pokemon, which is Piplup and Sandshrew. Those are my brother's favorite Pokemon, so I gave them to him while he's playing with them. And we basically make a Christmas list for Santa. We're like, we want a Wii, we want Webkins, we want Polly Pockets, we want Pillow Pets and Furreal Friends. And then Rocky's like, ooh, let's get more Pokemon. I'm like, good idea. And then I dropped some of the Pokemon lore. We had basically had these action figures that we made, like, stories with. And there was an officer in Polion who was, like, this big, like, super cool, like, kind of superhero kind of guy. He'd, like, save the day. He was, like, the police officer or whatever. Which is a very interesting thing to think about as a child, that I thought police officers would do that. Haha. ACAB. But Darker Eye was, like, this, like, actually, like, really awesome dad. Like, he was just, like, the dad ever. And, oh god, I can feel myself associating. Hold on. I gotta get sour candy. Apologies. I gotta get sour candy. Because, oh, I dropped it on the floor. Oh, no. No. Tactics to help me stop dissociating are to have a sour candy in my mouth. I can feel myself slipping, so I like to tackle it before. I've been talking about my past too much when sitting. It's starting to get to me a little bit. Okay. Sour candy engage. But Darker Eye was like this dad character who had this daughter, Corellia, which this drawing of Corellia is horrible because the colors are inverted. I don't know why I don't know what happened. Like, I draw this from memory, like I said, and I don't know why Corellia has inverted colors. I apologize, but I actually... Where is that? I have a piece of personal art I drew about the lore behind our Pokemon action figures. Oh my god, I have to find it. It's so funny. I gotta show you guys the freaking little, like, poster I made. I don't know where I would have put that. Oh dear. Oh no. Well, I'm searching for my file here because I made like a really silly kind of poster about like our lore. I don't know if I'll be able to find it now. No idea where it could have been. It's definitely lost somewhere. Oh lord. You'll see it eventually. I will bring it up because there's more episodes about our lore. I'll find it by then. But I thought my brother was talking about action figures, but he wanted us to get a real Pokemon. And if you don't know anything about Pokemon, Mew is essentially has the genes of every Pokemon. Like, every Pokemon basically comes from Mew. It's like the god Pokemon TM. And it can shapeshift into any Pokemon. So, me, being a bright little child, was like, dude, let's ask for a Mew, because then we'll get every Pokemon. It can transform into all of them. And we were like, yeah, this is genius. We're gonna put our Santa letter in the mailbox. Let's go. And then it's just hilariously me being like, no, we never got one, sorry. And they're like, aw, rats. And that's kind of the episode. I forgot to take the content warning off. This is a content warning. This is wholesome. But yeah, essentially, it's just a sweet little episode talking about how much we wanted, like, real Pokemon. I just thought it was, like, a fun little break in between things. I just thought it was a stinking adorable little concept. Some episodes are just like that. Some episodes I just want to touch on the little happy memories and be like, you know what? That was cute and fun. Alright, we're almost done. Couple episodes left. Mama Cat episode. Here we go. Let's go. This is the episode where at my dad's house we fed a stray mama cat and she had kittens. And she looked just like this. She was like a very interesting kind of tortoise shell kind of calico mix. I don't know how to describe her. Very sweet. This is verbatim what happened. I went outside. I had a reading assignment for school. I went outside and laid down a beach towel and was reading my book for a reading assignment. I had to write a summary on and everything. So, I was doing my homework outside early in the morning, and Mama Cat strolls up and drops a kitten in my lap. And I start screaming. And I go running inside. Mama Cat kittens, Mama Cat kittens, Mama Cat kittens. Like, over and over and over again. Run up to my dad. He's sitting in an armchair. I'm like shaking, like rocking the armchair. Like, Dad, oh my god. I'm like freaking out. And so, freaking, she brings out all the kittens. And here they all are. There is, Tom, Jealous, Squirt, and Frisco. And Mama Cat. And those were our cats. And Dad was like, we're not bringing them inside, but look at them. We are so bringing them inside, so we so did. So that one was Tom. Tom was like kind of the leader of the pack. He was the big brother. And Jealous, who was like the elegant queen of the group. And then Squirt, who was our talented little girly. She was a sports girly, I swear. And then Frisco, who was our lazy, big, kind of oaf kind of character. Frisco ended up going to my mom's house, and the other cats, all of them, stayed up with my dad. My poor dad. My dad, who was allergic to cats, was like, okay. So, thanks, Dad, for taking the L. I had spent my whole childhood reading every book in the library about cats and dogs and all their breeds, and it was a big fixation for me. And a big moment, because I wanted to be a vet at this point in time. My child's dream was to be a veterinarian. So, she really wanted to take care of animals, and this was her ultimate opportunity to do that. And so, she helped raise these kittens, and the silly little fun little end of this episode is her being like, you know what? I think this was the best day of my life. And I'm like, yeah, it was. Sorry, Rocky. And then my brother's sad, because in case you missed the joke, which, like, mostly everybody did, unfortunately, the autism makes it hard for me to land jokes 9 times out of 10. I thought it was pretty funny, but apparently nobody else did. The joke is that, the best day of my life, I had said it already. I had said that the best day of my life was the day that Rocky was born. And so the joke is that Wild Child goes, you know what? Never mind. Forget Rocky. These kittens are the best. And then I'm like, yeah, you're super right. Forget Rocky. And then he's like absolutely just devastated. So there you go. There's the joke explanation, because I always have to I have to explain my jokes because I'm so bad at telling them. But thanks, guys, for mostly getting it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry if the autism made the joke not as funny. I am terrible at them. Alright. Moving forward. Last few episodes we're gonna talk about, then I'll open the floor for Q&A. About anything that I just discussed. Oh, this episode takes a while to load because it has real, like, images from the real world in it. This episode I'm gonna talk about is Slash. It's my first OC, and yes, the images that you are seeing are the actual, yes, those are actually images. Those, I made them in PowerPoint, and I still have the PowerPoints. I made a video showing off all of the PowerPoints that I have to this day about Slash, and it's a members only video, but it's really funny, and I think it's one of the best videos I've made in a long time. But this episode is basically about being so bored in computer class that I decided to challenge myself and make my own cartoon using Microsoft PowerPoint. And this is Slash, my first OC. He's a rainbow ball. I think I confirmed that he's an alien. He's a rainbow ball alien thing from hell. And he's like, I don't know, he's Wild Child self-insert. Essentially. He's a terrifying little guy. I mean, like, just like, he has a little brother named Lime, who is like the Rocky replacement. And like, I love going into like the baby's first horrifying, ugly, nasty, disgusting OC, because he really is just so horrifying. And I would basically put my PowerPoints on the TV, and I'd be like, okay, Rocky, we're gonna voice act my episodes out together, and it's gonna be fun, and it'll be like a movie, it'll be so cool. And like, I would sit there and like tell my brother, you're gonna read those speech bubbles, and I'm gonna read these ones, okay? Let's go. And I'd start reading them, and then my brother, who was too young to read the speech bubbles, wouldn't know what to do. And I'd be like, oh, come on, Rocky, do your part! And like, I'd be all like mad. And it's just really funny and cute to me that like Wild Child's trying to be this little director and is like, oh, God, Rocky sucks at this. This is stupid. And Rocky's just like, I have no idea what's going on. And this is my case in point. I've been born to do what I do today. I was born to animate. I was born to make characters, voice act, direct. I was born to do all of this. It's awesome, and I loved it. Slash is an alien. I did confirm this by watching through all of the PowerPoints that I had made. He is 100% alien. They're all aliens. There's more characters that point to the fact that they are aliens. And the last episode of Year 7 that I'm going to talk about today is about something that I didn't previously think was a big deal. I had to talk to my therapist about it pretty thoroughly because it was something that I had dismissed, maybe dissociated from, maybe trauma blocked a little bit, that I had to like dig back up out of my soul. It was a weird time because I definitely didn't expect all the emotion that came out of this. And it did. I also tried some new experimental stuff as far as animation goes with this episode. So this episode is the final one. It's called Torn Down. Now, I didn't put a content warning on this episode because I didn't foresee it. Like, when I put content warnings on things, it has to meet a certain guideline. And it's basically like I follow a YouTube guideline where it's like, if it includes something that I need to flag in the monetization tab, then I flag it for content warning. Most of the time. Sometimes I'll make the executive decision to be like, this seems more triggering than YouTube is letting on, so I'm gonna put a content warning anyway. I'm very cautious with my content warnings. But this one I felt was so tame and kind of niche. I was like, well, alright, this, fair warning, this has like deforestation. I didn't know what else to call it. I was like, I don't know how to warn people about this general loss of safety. Yeah, most of the time when my comments get turned on, it is very much against my will, Clover. Even lately, the comments have been turning themselves on. I know you guys have probably noticed it because you've probably been jumping on the chance to say, oh my god, the comments are on, which by the way isn't fucking helpful. When everybody goes, oh, finally I can say something, guess what? I turn them off again. For you, specifically. Because if you're gonna complain like that, then they're not coming back. Because it's a privilege, and I don't have to deal with the insane amount of backlash I get. It's kind of shitty that, like, the millisecond that my YouTube video goes up, I get flooded with notifications, and I'm like, dude, I had that turned off. That's so annoying. And then I have to go and turn them off. And then while I'm trying to turn them off, I get to read hateful comments right off the bat of being like, stop being a little baby, turn on your comments. Where I read stuff that's like, oh, well, you know, people are dying in other countries, so why are you complaining about your dad doing this thing? Who cares? Like, I get really crappy comments. And that's why my streams are members only. Chat. And that's why there's no comments. Because I get torn to shreds. And it's not fucking fair that I also have to go through all this trauma, but also be torn to shreds while trying to give myself a voice about it. So that's why they're off. And yeah, I am really mad when YouTube just turns them on. It is bad. It is very bad. So YouTube needs to get their shit together, bottom line. But regardless, I want to talk about Torn Down. This is the worst day of Wild Child's life. And I laughed about it in the beginning. Because I didn't think this was such a bad thing. I was like, sitting there like, wow, this is the worst day ever for Wild Child. It's pretty funny because we go through, like, being homeless, we go through, like, all these bad things, and, like, this is really the- oh my god, my cat. You could hear him screaming. Baby! Relax! Oh my god, he has a puffball! Baby! Relax! I know you have- congrats! Good job! I'm so proud of you! Okay, my cat, side tangent, because he's screaming. My cat, he has these little puff balls. Like, they're like little, like, cotton balls that he likes to play with. And whenever he catches one, quote unquote, he, like, starts crying and, like, screaming through the puffball with it in his mouth because he's trying to tell me that he caught, like, his prey. He's trying to, like, show off and be like, I caught something, and then he'll, like, drop the puffball in my room, and I'll be like, thank you, oh my god, thank you, Bibby, you did such a good job, Bibby. And, like, I have to give him his praise when he catches something. But currently, when I'm live streaming, I kick him out most of the time because he likes to eat the microphone, and that's not helpful. So I think he caught his prey, and he's mad that he can't show me, so now he's complaining. Just ignore him. But anyway, Wild Child, I thought it was funny that Wild Child's, like, views this as the worst day to her. But then I realized as I reflected more why this upsets her so badly. It was a really good moment for me to connect with my inner child, for sure, to look at her and be like, really? This is distressing? Why? And then go, oh, that's why. So, basically, the hot air balloon field in my backyard was being torn down. And there was these loud machines for days that, like, shook the whole house and disrupted all of my peace. I'd go to the window and I'd pray for the animals every day. It was very distressing time to be sitting in my backyard and watching my sanctuary get torn to shreds. Because Wild Child, as you know, is very in touch with nature. And when I lost my nature, which, by the way, I love the panning shots I did here with the camera work. It was so much fun to do. And when I lost all that whimsy and all that goodness of this forest with its sandhill cranes, its hot air balloons, its sprawling fields and trees, and, like, everything that was just good to me in my childhood, everything that I could use to get out of the abusive household I was in and go run off into the woods, it was gone. And replaced with a big, giant mansion and big, pointy gates. And I don't use the term evil lightly, but I can't think of something more evil than not being native to Florida, not being from a place, hearing that it's a great vacation spot, plopping down a giant fucking mansion on top of what should be protected lands for endangered animals. I can't think of anything worse, dude. I can't think of anything worse than that. And you know what? To everybody in the comments who decide to be a fucking prick and be like, well, you have a house. Where do you think your house came from? You have a house. You destroyed nature too to live in a house. Motherfuckers. That is not the point of the episode. That is not the point. I lived in a tiny fucking house. I wouldn't say tiny. Well, my dad's house was tiny, but my mom's house wasn't grand, alright? It was an average house that we inherited. We didn't personally tear up the freaking woods, alright? I lived in the damn woods. I loved all the animals, all the nature. I loved my community that used to live there, and we were so close-knit. We had a great community. And then all these rich people from places that were cold and they just wanted to go to a warm place, they wanted a vacation house, they tore up my fucking home. Okay? It's not the same at all. I didn't have a choice. I lived there since I was born, okay? I didn't make that choice. That was my parents' choice. I didn't decide to plop a house down in Florida. I was just raised in Florida. And I learned to love where I was raised. It was a beautiful place. Now it's not. Now it's just full of people who destroy it. For gain. Personal gain, capitalism, whatever. So, yeah. Watching your home be destroyed in any kind of fucking way is not fun to go through. And I really don't appreciate that all the comments are basically pointing fingers at me saying that I'm doing the same thing. And it was not at all the same thing. So that was just a very closed-minded, very kind of stupid comment that I had to deal with for the 4 seconds I had to look at comments because it turned itself on. So yeah, I don't appreciate that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The same problem does happen in Hawaii. It happens in a lot of places. It can happen anywhere. If you're from a place and you've only known a certain environment and you care for it and you nurture it and you cherish it, and somebody comes along who knows nothing about it and destroys it for their own personal gain, and then not only destroys it for their personal gain, locks you out from it, it's a little personal, man. It's a little personal. So I feel for Wild Child in this way more than I thought I would. Because I didn't realize that this was a huge issue for her. And so I realized that there was so much anger in all of the nature that she lost, in the sanctuary she lost, the safety she lost. She lost everything because of the choices that those people made to put down their concrete little paradises and mowing over what good I had. But I didn't have to tell her this. This is something that I stand by as a survivor here. It does not get better. Bottom line. It just doesn't. It just continues to get worse. The world, people, places, things, state of being. It doesn't get better. The sooner that you accept that, the happier you'll be. Because you know what? It will get easier. The moment you do accept that, it immediately gets easier. And then it just continues to get easier. The more that you accept that it's an uphill climb. So, to a lot of people who I saw a lot of positive comments about, they said they needed to hear that. As somebody who has suffered so much, coming from me, I won't sugarcoat it and tell you that, oh, everything gets better. No, it doesn't. Time heals wounds, yes, but you will have scars. And you will get new wounds, and you will get new scars. And that is the cycle. It is an uphill climb. You will continue to fight, and you will learn, and it'll get easier because you learn. It is not in vain. Your suffering is not in vain. What you have gone through is not in vain. And it probably will get worse. But the good news is that it will get easier. Because you learned. There is a point to it all. So that is all I have to say about Year 7 of Persona Project. It ended off with all the other eras, kind of giving Wild Child hope that, while it might not get better, it at least gets easier for each one of us. So yeah, I'm gonna open the floor for a little bit of questions. I'm reading words. I'm trying to catch up on chat here. But if you have any Q&A about any of the episodes I talked about, if there's something that you wanted to like be like, oh hey, you did this, you didn't mention this, you know, if I forgot something you want me to bring up, I can do that now. Or if you just have any general questions for me, this is a good chance. I will be leaving for a couple of weeks. I won't be able to stream for a couple of weeks, but I do have videos in place. Pretty much every other day I've got a video for you guys. And the next 3 episodes of Persona Project are fascinating. I can't wait for you guys to see them. Genuinely, some of my best work. Dude. This, episode 108, it's called Encounter. You're not ready. It is so cinematic. It is so different from everything else I've done with Persona Project. It is... Oh, it's so good. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Ah! So yeah, you guys have some fun videos. I have Wobble Dogs like no tomorrow because my birthday gift to myself was to play a lot of Wobble Dogs with you guys. And we have so many silly little dogs. I can't wait for you guys to see. Oh my god, I can't spoil anything, but we unlock some awesome stuff, dude. I can't wait for you guys to see. You guys so much fun with Wobble Dogs. And I have an Origins video coming out. It's really cool. Can't wait for you guys to see the Origins video. So yeah, lots of cool content these next couple weeks despite my absence. That doesn't mean that I'm not watching though, so watch yourselves. The comments get turned back on. They will be turned off. I will find a way. Don't worry. They're not supposed to be on. Except for the big videos, they can be on, not shorts. Shorts are off. Other videos are on. But... Timothy Esquire III! Yes! I love Wobble Dogs. I need a t-shirt that says talk to me about my Wobble Dogs. What do you plan to do for the trip? Lots of things, Fizzy. Holy cow, lots of things. I'm gonna go to the pond that my child loves so very much. I'm gonna go for a walk in my OG neighborhood. See if anything's changed. We're gonna... I'm gonna visit the grave of my stepfather. I found out where he is buried. I'm gonna go say hi to him. I haven't said hi to him since 2012. So yeah, a long time. Have some catching up to do with my stepdad, basically. I have a lot planned just to hang with my brother. We're gonna go to the beach. We're gonna reclaim a beach and experience, and we're kind of taking back our childhood a little bit with this trip, so it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna build freaking forts. We're gonna make rain fort. Oh, it's so good. Very excited. Okay, hold on. I'm reading chat. There's lots of blocks, so I apologize. Making memories online. I'm gonna portray them? That's interesting. I think I'll portray the memories that I've made online. I'll just portray them like the same kind of like personification of like they're in person. Like, it feels the same to me. Like, I probably will have a shot of like in Hawley era, like Hawley like talking with like her headphones on, laughing at a screen. But then I'll have it melt away to like me and my friends standing side by side, because that's how it feels to me. It's a good question, because it's a kind of like a, I feel like it's just an artistic choice, and I think that's how I'm gonna portray it, is just like doing it where you have the subtext that they are online, but for the most part it doesn't feel that way. Oh, Mal, yeah, you can, whenever the Discord is for the $10 tier and up, and you get the link to join, you can join whenever you want, at your leisure. You don't even have to join if you want to. Like, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's just an optional thing for you out there. It's not something that expires, for sure. Like, it's just like, and you can join it, and it's a perma-join, so like, once you join it, you don't have to, like, continue to, like, be at that tier if you don't want to. Like, you could just pay once and get in, essentially. That's how it works. Oh, I love hearing about you guys' errors too. Like, I love hearing that other people have eras. Ah, it makes me so excited. It's honestly been such a great tool for me. Like, it helps me distinguish like points in my life, like specific points in time. It's just so helpful. Because I'm just like, instead of being like, oh yeah, from like 2013 to 2017 I was doing this project, it's like such a hard thing to remember exact years and dates, so it's just like being like, oh, Parker era, boom. It's like so much easier. Oh, I love seeing the fan art of you guys drawing your eras with my eras. It's so cool. It makes me feel so happy. I'm like, oh, we're all healing together. It's like so good. I'm so happy that so many people have connected with Persona Project and feel the intense desire to just do right by your inner eras and heal. Like, It's a very good revolution to have. It's so good. Ugh, so wonderful. But yes, I will wrap up here because I'm gonna go see what my cat has caught me. Gotta see what he has dragged to the door this time. Probably a puffball. Gotta go give him some treats for that. And probably grab myself some lunch and prepare for my trip. I will update you guys when I get back about how that goes for sure. The next live stream I do. I will definitely let you guys know when that will be. I'll have you guys decide what we do as well, because I don't have very many plans other than finishing up year 8 of Persona Project. And, like I said, second week of April is when I'm projecting to finish Wild Child's Era, and then starting in May, we will probably start Blackbird's then, because I need time to write all of her scripts out and stuff. So, we have lots of work to do, lots of fun stuff ahead, and I hope you guys enjoy all that is to come, despite me being here and there. From being, like, sick from chronic illness and or going on a fun little trip for self-healing and journey, reflection, yes. But yeah, guys, it's been really great. I really appreciate how tame you guys have been in the chat, and how nice it's been having all of you listen in. Even if you're a non-member, I see your hearts flowing in, and the donations help a lot. I appreciate you guys so very much for all that support every day. I am so grateful that I could... Literally this whole month I've been so sick, but I've still been able to persevere, and you guys have been here for me, and I appreciate that so much. Like, that's so cool. And I hope you're eager to see how the rest of this era continues. Because it's gonna be a doozy. Year 8 is certainly a lot more chipper than year 7, so... Worst if it's over. We did it. We just have to see her through to the end, and that's it. So yeah, guys, thanks for the great stream. It's been real fun, real cool, been great. I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks. If you're going on spring break, enjoy your spring break. If you're not, turn it into a spring break. Have a spring break. Come on. Have some fun for me. Drink some water, eat some food, pet your animals, hug a teddy bear, text a friend. Just be good, okay? Bye-bye. Boo-bye. Boo-bye. Boo-bye.